Steelers preseason football is brought to you by McDonald's. There's more to love at McDonald's. By PNC Bank for the achiever in you. By Ford F-Series, the official truck of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Visit your neighborhood Ford store today. And by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Welcome back, everyone. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson in the booth. Jeff Frizella manning the sidelines. And this is the Treasure Hunt coin toss, brought to you by Treasure Hunt. It pays the most for your gold, silver, jewelry, coins, and diamonds. And we saw Cedric Thornton out there along with Nick Foles and Brent Selleck. Only captain for the Steelers is Ben Roethlisberger and Ed Hockley. The guns are out there for Ed Hockley. And Philadelphia has won the toss. And we'll see the Steeler defense. It looks like they are not going to defer, so we'll see the Steeler defense on the field first. And there is Mike Tomlin. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. As we said, he'll address the situation with the running backs after the game tonight, so stick around for that. And you see the win percentage. He's looking to add on to that. 71-41. Steelers bullish about the makeup of their team. And there is Chip Kelly. Second year he led them to an NFC East championship, 10-6. And that career at Oregon, he never missed a BCS bowl game, 46-7. He runs that spread offense and puts a lot of points on the board. And last year, Edmund, I remember the first game we saw them go, they had 53 offensive plays run in the first half of a game. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, they certainly move and are a high-octane offense. He's going to make it very hard for the Steelers to keep up with the substitutions.
Yeah, it is. And Kelly is one of these guys who wants the pace to be quick. He wasn't too happy the last two games. They lost both, including one last week at New England, as they lose that game 42-35. A lot of big plays in that one. Sean Sweesom about to kick it off. Demarius Johnson is back deep to receive. And we're about to get things rolling here on the third preseason game. Steelers coming off a win, their first in the preseason. They didn't have any last year, so step in the right direction. Two good plays by young linebackers that set up the winning field goal by Sweesom.
Mike Tomlin is really interested in getting off on the good foot away. You must be tough if you're going to win away from home.
All right, and this is going to be a returnable ball by Johnson as he takes it a couple of yards deep in his own end zone, trying to weave his way out. And there is Bryce McLean along with Terrence Garvin, who combined on the tackle, and Philadelphia will go to work offensively.
It's a wonderful opportunity for that Steelers defense to get some very good work, Bob.
There you see the starting lineup: McCoy, Riley Cooper, Jordan Matthews, a rookie they like, Jeremy Maclin, Brett Selleck, the tight end. The offensive line is somewhat of a work in progress, but they got some good players there, especially their center, Jason Kelsey, out of Cincinnati. And so, Nick Foles, and what a season he had last year. As we said, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's it. First pass is incomplete, intended for Jeremy Maclin.
And oddly enough, the Philadelphia Eagles offense comes out with 2 tight ends. That's a rarity because they rarely even have a tight end in some of their sets.
Well, they got a good one in the making. Zach Ertz, number 86. He's a kid out of Stanford, and last year really came on strong as a rookie. Right in the flat, and this one's going to go to Riley Cooper. Cooper signed a new deal. That's a gain of 12 yards. He got 5 years, $25 million with 8 guaranteed.
And he's going to have to be the guy that takes over that number 1 receiving position.
Yep. Deshaun Jackson no longer here down in Washington. What a soap opera that was over the years here. So it's a first down now for Philadelphia. They go inside handoff, and it goes to LaShawn McCoy. Shady trying to cut back, and he does. More first down yardage there. Mike Mitchell comes up and makes the tackle, but LaShawn McCoy with a gain of 15 yards. Now it's time for your neighborhood Ford. Starting lineups on defense: Hayward, McClendon, and Cam Thomas. Up front, we will not see Brett Kiesel tonight, although he is dressed. Jason Worlds, Ryan Shazier, Lawrence Timmons, Jarvis Jones needs to put it up this year. Allen, Mitchell, Polamalu, and Ike Taylor in the secondary. Here's a pitch, and what a play by Law Dog Lawrence Timmons, who bursts in, and he gets Shady McCoy for a loss of 5.
And that's exactly what should have happened to the offensive right side on the play previous. Watch him charge the line of scrimmage, playing on the Eagles side of the line of scrimmage, and showing that burst of speed. You know, he's not necessarily slow either. He runs a low 4.40 himself. Timmons coming in, making the big play and establishing that we're not going anywhere.
See one of the new backs in the game for Philadelphia, number 43, the familiar Darren Sproles. And they fake the handoff to him. Instead, Foles goes down, and he's off target again. Will Gay in coverage, and that is to number 81, Jordan Matthews. He's the rookie, a guy who has 13 catches in this preseason already out of Vanderbilt.
And now this brings up the first opportunity for Dick LeBeau to apply his pressure defense. You're going to see a blitz of some sort coming out. This is 3rd and long. Time to get after the quarterback.
3rd and 15 to be precise after the nice play by Timmons. Got McCoy to a 5-yard loss. Pressure to the right side. Foles stands up. Goes to Riley Cooper, but Ike Taylor says not today. Taylor breaks it away. That will stop the Philadelphia drive, and Pittsburgh will get the ball.
That was actually a completion, and Ike Taylor makes a good play. Let's take a look at it here. Nice throw, steps up in the pocket, and watch Ike reach in there with that left paw and pull it out. And Ike says, no, there'll be none of that here, especially on that play.
Good play, and that's Donnie Jones now. Punts it to Dree Archer. The wind affecting that ball a little bit. Makes a fair catch at the 12-yard line, and that will be the starting point of the Steelers as they hope to put together a long drive. It's scoreless early going from the Link. Back in Philadelphia as the Steelers do a good job getting Philadelphia off the field. Ben Roethlisberger, so far in this preseason, the lion's share of that work happened last week in the win over against Buffalo when he hit for 2 touchdown passes. One was 76 yards to Antonio Brown, the other 16 yards to Marcus Wheaton. They operate from their 12-yard line. And the first carry will go to Le'Veon Bell, and he's swallowed up. Very short gain right there for Bell. Now it's time for the forward lineups. And this is for the Steelers on offense. Bell along with Will Johnson, Wheaton, Brown, and Heath Miller, the reliable tight end. Up front, Beecham, Foster, Pouncey, David DeCastro, and Marcus Gilbert, who just signed his new deal, $30 million for the next 6 years. This time it's a handoff again to Bell. He's trying to weave his way, and he goes down again pretty quickly across the 16, maybe the 17-yard line. And it'll set up a 3rd down. D'Amico Ryans on the stop. He was once the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year when he played for the Texans. Gain of 3, setting up 3rd and 5 now for the Steelers. You'll see Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, and Cedric Thornton up front. Their linebackers, pretty good. Again, D'Amico Ryans is the guy who just made that stop, and he's been the guy who they rely on, along with Trent Cole, Connor Barwin, also number 98, a part of that linebacking core. Roethlisberger now on 3rd down. Pressure up the middle. He averts it, goes to Heath Miller, and he makes that catch in front of Nolan Carroll in defense. And that's a 1st down, a gain of 8. He needed 5. He got 3 more.
And you hear the Heath call here in Lincoln Financial Field. You know once he gets his hands on it, he's going to haul it in. A little timing throw there. Comes, runs a little out route. Runs just enough the veteran move to get past the sticks. Secures the ball and secures the 1st down. Heath Miller, just a consummate pro.
Heath Miller, looking back last year, he got off to such a slow start because of the injury. He rehabbed. He was way ahead of schedule, but missed a significant amount of time. But as the season went on, he did what he always does and makes key plays, especially on 3rd down. This is Bell now. Change of direction and a nice move. Bell bouncing off of people now, trying to get pushed ahead by Gilbert as well. And that's a pretty good game at about 8 yards for Bell.
Probably more like the running you're going to see from Bell. They really have not perfected that outside zone read that they want. So they run the little misdirection, starts one way, cuts back against the grain a little bit. Nice running, gets his shoulder pads low. Needs to run, in fact, a little lower. But Bell showing the shiftiness and the speed that we're going to be seeing.
Offensive coordinators love 2nd and short, and that's what Todd Haley has right now for the Steelers. Trying to keep this drive going. They have 1 1st down, looking to make it 2. Roethlisberger fires. Oh, and Bell gets lit up there by D'Amico Ryans immediately as he went into the head area. And D'Amico Ryans is going to be flagged for that one.
One of the points of emphasis an unprotected receiver, you must be able to catch the ball and make a football move. In the eyes of, looks like the line judge, he was unprotected.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 59, hit the neck or head area of defenseless player. 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Wow, did you hear that hit, Bob? That was a big hit. And I think that may have been the first case of alligator arms right there. He knew he was going to get hit, trying to haul that thing in before he secures the hit. But wow, that was a big hit. We could hear that up here.
Yeah, and that's clearly up in the head and neck area, and they made the right call on that one. Miko Ryans, you might remember, he was traded here from the Texans. They wanted him, they got him, and he's been a very good player for them. Once again, handoff up the middle. LeGarrette Blount for his first carry of the day. 5th NFL season, came over here from New England where he averaged 5 a pop last year.
Excellent movement on the right side of the line, starting left again, as Le'Veon Bell did, and then cutting back to the right and moving the pile. That's an excellent first down play, getting 6 yards. Now that's very manageable for this Pittsburgh Steelers offense.
There you see Mike Tomlin. Not the kind of business trip he wanted as it started yesterday, hoping for a better outcome here tonight and something to build on moving into the regular season. One more preseason game left next week. And this one is knocked up in the air, and Bell's going, oh, he had it and he let it go out of his hands. Originally it was Damian Square out of Alabama who was there. Looked like he might get the interception, but it ends up going as incomplete.
And in that particular play, Ben had plenty of time in the backfield. Looked left, looked, scanned over a couple of receivers, found Bell. Probably should have been caught initially. Certainly the second time, just couldn't secure the football. Would have been a very easy first down.
All right, so now it's 3rd down for the Steelers. Roethlisberger changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Antonio Brown down bottom part of your screen, and it's Marcus Wheaton who had a touchdown last week. They're expecting big things from Wheaton this year as he takes a step forward in his 2nd year out of Oregon State. Here comes some pressure. He lofts it up, and a little miscommunication there because Roethlisberger went long. Wheaton turned it in short.
Bob, everybody was expecting a different route. Ben was expecting a different route. Marcus Wheaton was expecting a different route. I actually was expecting Ben to throw the fade stop down the sidelines to Wheaton, which would probably have been the throw to make in that particular instance. And yet, Wheaton ran the arrow and then kind of stopped, slowed down, and Ben's going to have a talk with his young receiver.
Brad Wing, who was once with the Philadelphia Eagles last year. They signed him originally. Darren Sproles. And what a career Darren Sproles has had when you look at him. All these years out of Kansas State. A small guy, but man, can't ever measure the heart. Traded to Philadelphia this year for a 5th-round pick, 41 career touchdowns, and a jack of all trades. Philadelphia goes back to work after this incompletion to Le'Veon Bell and the hit by D'Amico Ryans. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. NFL Thursday Night Football is coming to CBS and KDKA, featuring CBS #1 production team Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, September the 11th. And, of course, kicking off with the Steelers and the Ravens, live from M&T Bank Stadium. James Brown, Coach Bill Cowher, and Deion Sanders team up on the CBS and NFL Network primetime pregame and halftime coverage each Thursday night. And we'll kick it off with that big game down in Baltimore. 2 and 4 games for the Steelers. Division opponents right off the bat. Cleveland September 7th, and then that one. All right, it's going to be 1st and 10 now for Nick Foles. Up the middle, and there's some confusion, and Foles pays the price for that. Cam Hayward loves getting his hands on the quarterback as he did there.
You're not going to make a living in the NFL running the zone read with your quarterback, especially with linebackers. The speed of Timmons and Shazier, well read by Timmons at times.
2nd and 10, no gain on the play. Little pitch this time. Once again, it's Shady. Shady reversing his field, now outrunning Jason Worlds, and there's Foles trying to get a block. There's a flag down, as you can see, and tell you what, he made something out of nothing. That's what he did at Pitt, and that's what he's done with Philadelphia.
Jason Worlds had the opportunity to get upfield and make sure that reverse of the field by Shady McCoy was going nowhere, and yet he was a little bit flat along the line of scrimmage. Looked like he jumped anyway, but if you watch him,
Offside,
he stays flat.
Defense number 93. That penalty is declined. Play results in a 1st down.
He stayed flat there, Bob, when in fact he should have gotten upfield, but he had already messed up and he knew it. And yet you have to play until the whistle blows because that was a big gain.
That was a gain of 13 yards when it looked like nothing for Shady. By the way, his mother named him Shady when he was a little boy because he had mood swings. He called him Shady, and it stuck ever since. This time there is nothing there. Good play by the Steelers. Once again, Cam Hayward, who came on strong last year.
Cam Hayward, before Brett Kiesel came back, was the unquestioned leader of that defensive line. Now he has his big brother back to look up to, but big things are expected out of Cam Hayward.
All right, it's Foles now in the shotgun, in the flat. Goes to McCoy, who tries to get around Shazier, cannot do it. Gets a little gain. Nice defense there by number 50. That's a gain, or 4 yards, yes, on the play, so it'll set up third down and roughly 6.
Even with the substitution, the Eagles do not huddle. They kind of stay in that kind of scattered thing, ready to snap the ball at any time, but there was a substitution there.
There's the big tight end Ertz in motion. Over the middle it goes to Jeremy Maclin, close to first down yardage, wrapped up by William Gay. It looks like he does have enough to move the chains for Maclin, who was a 2009 first-round pick out of Missouri.
Good coverage by Gay and the little dump off. Not much more expected out of him. You want to get to the passer, not let him sit back there and have a lot of time to throw that football.
Fake handoff to Sproles down the middle. A seam route goes to Brent Selleck, who bounces off Mike Mitchell. Now the helmet goes flying off on the hit by the Steelers. But Selleck, who's become Mr. Reliable in their pass game, 26 career touchdowns, gets a big game.
Brent Selleck running the little seam route. You see him there at the left side of your screen running in. There was a time to make a big hit there. Gets another 8 yards and gets plastered right there at the end.
Lawrence Timmons just came flying in and knocked. The force of that hit knocked his helmet off. Gain of 23. As the Eagles now at the Steeler 31-yard line. Foles again. This is up tempo. Worlds gets a hand on it. Worlds doing a very good job getting around his man on the edge, and that's what they want to see more of with 93.
The only thing that Jason Worlds needs to do is be more consistent with his pass rush. You already know that he can certainly rush the passer coming off of that edge, but he needs to get the kind of consistency that's expected from that position, come around the corner and wreaking havoc just like he did on that play there.
Jason Worlds, second-round pick, signed the transition offer, operating out of a one-year deal. We'll see what happens afterwards. They're expecting another big D. He has a lot to play for as he makes a tackle there also, along with Timmons on Darren Sproles.
Really good work by the Steeler defensive front, working against those big guys along the front for the Eagles. Barbie and Harrimans, Kelsey, Mathis, those guys are some beasts, and they have to be in great physical condition as well to be able to block in this offense.
Evan Mathis, number 69, just signed a big deal also, 5 years, $25 million. He's been outstanding on the left side of their offensive line and a guy that they rely on, along with Kelsey at center. Here's Foles now, again, looking outside, going to Sproles, who has a bit of buttered fingers there with Timmons bearing down, and the veteran drops that one.
Now, Bob, this particular call is going to be on Ike Taylor. Is going to be holding down the field, and I can tell you, one of the problems that I have with a call like that is it's so far away from the play.
Before the pass was thrown, holding defense number 24. It's a 5-yard penalty for the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Don't know where the quarterback initially looked to the left, but that was on the play was on the absolute opposite side of the field, and they throw that flag. Yes, we understand that it's a point of emphasis, and the guys are going to have to adjust. And watch, he's looking, he starts scanning over to his right and then scans all the way over here, and the holding occurred all the way over here on the other side of the field. And you just can't do that. You have to play with boxing gloves, as we saw in practice for a couple of plays.
Foles delivers on the money, but it's knocked away. It was intended for Maclin there, and it was Cortez Allen along with Mike Mitchell. That falls to the ground incomplete.
And another good pressure up front by Worlds. Watch Maclin here, the deep end, trying to keep him from coming in the inside. That's an excellent play by Cortez Allen, getting the paw in there, knocking that one away. Big things also expected from him this year. Staying healthy is one of them.
You know, one of the things about Worlds, who expected perhaps to get a long-term extension, that could come in time, but the Steelers can also lock him up again, franchise tag him next year if they so choose, but likely he'll get a deal done if he has the kind of year they're expecting. Foles down the middle, or on the side I should say. This one goes incomplete. Polamalu in coverage there, intended for Brent Selleck.
Brett Selleck had a step or two. That throw had to be perfect. If it was short, Troy was there to pick that one off. But Brent Selleck showing you the speed of the big tight end, able to run the deep crossing route.
Number 81, Jordan Matthews, has been their best receiver so far in this preseason out of Vanderbilt. A second-round pick this year. He's actually related to Hall of Famer Jerry Rice. And last week had a touchdown against New England. 13 catches in the preseason so far. He's operating out of their slot. This is a nice call and a nice execution. Shady McCoy to the 10, to the 5, and he gets into the end zone. It's a touchdown. LaShawn McCoy, a great call, better execution. 22 yards, and Philadelphia has the lead.
You are absolutely right. That was beautiful misdirection and execution. Watch the flow over here, the little fake, and then throws it back. The throwback screen almost. Shady sneaks out there, one blocker, two blockers, and all he does is just run untouched and unimpeded into the end zone for an easy 6. A little bit too easy for that first defensive unit.
Nice block, too, down the field. He got some open territory as a result. And the extra point, and by the way, they're going back to the regular rules from here on out in the preseason. They have determined they have enough data on this. We'll find out if that 15-yard spot or 15-yard line will be something they do next year. McCoy goes in, 7-0 Philly. We're back. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, Jeff Rosella, 7-0 Eagles strike first. A reminder to you, NCIS New Orleans is a drama about the local field office investigating criminal cases affecting military in the Big Easy. Leading the team is Special Agent Scott Bakula, a native of NOLA, driven by his need to do what is right. NCIS New Orleans premieres Tuesday, September 23rd at 9 p.m. Alex Henry back to kick off. He's had his worst 3 years in Philly. As a result, they brought in a new kicker just yesterday, Cody Parquet. They made a trade with the Colts. We may see him tonight, maybe not, but it's not been a good preseason for Alex Henry. And the other kid, what that Parquet guy does is he kicks in the end zone. Last year led all college kickers in touchbacks. He just kicks it long, got a big leg.
Don't need anybody to cover when you can do that consistently.
We're back. 7-0 Eagles have the lead. Their second possession resulted in 7 points, and there is Shady McCoy, as we said. And there was some criticism about him playing tonight because he had a turf toe, and he's been bothered by it, but he got in there tonight, and he has the first touchdown. 11 plays, 80 yards, 307. Foles to McCoy for 22. And the Steelers go to work again on offense.
Couldn't tell he had turf toe on that touchdown run.
No, but he gets aggravated pretty quickly, and so that could be why he's headed to the locker room. That was an intended pass for Heath Miller. Ben Roethlisberger now 1 for 4. Only 8 yards so far.
And the Steelers seem out of sync on offense. Had a couple of decent runs, but Heath Miller was not looking back for that pass. Pass was thrown and just not on the same page with his quarterback. Ben has to settle his guys down and try to get some type of drive.
Once again, two tight ends. You got Heath Miller flanked to Ben's left. You have Matt Spaeth back in Pittsburgh now after some time in Chicago, holding off the linebacker. Roethlisberger goes deep and long and overthrows his intended receiver, Marcus Wheaton, with nice coverage by Bradley Fletcher.
Nice coverage, but a flag nonetheless, impeding the progress of a receiver there. Saw that one when it was thrown, Bob.
Illegal contact, defense, number 24. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
You know, it's interesting, Edmund. We saw at the start, it was Justin Brown who got a start ahead of Lance Moore. And I noticed downstairs that those Roethlisberger and Todd Haley seem to be at a disagreement with something that he did. I don't know why, but were you surprised he got the first look at that area?
You're trying to get some guys some looks, and I think that's what this is all about. You know, Lance Moore is a veteran that's been around. They know what he can do. I think they're just trying to figure out that fourth receiver spot, fifth receiver spot, if they're going to keep 5, and what they're going to be able to do.
Roethlisberger now makes a handoff straight ahead. Blunt tries to make a man miss, and he does, and that's D'Amico Ryans. Hard yards up the middle for number 27.
Really nice, tough inside running by Blunt, finding and picking his way around for 5 yards. That's an excellent gain on first down. And you notice when he finishes the run, you see his pads low and you see guys bouncing off of him. That's why you have him in town. Let's hope he can stay around for a while. 2
carries, 10 yards for Blunt. That was his average last year with New England, 5 yards a pop. and yet New England chose to let him go, and the Steelers gave him a 2-year deal. Here's a little dump off to Heath Miller, and he's tracked down from behind from Cedric Thornton, but he gets first down yardage. That's a gain of 7 yards.
Very good execution. Heath Miller coming across, looking like he's going to block right here, and then fakes it and fades out to run the little crossing pattern. Thank goodness he didn't roll up. Looked like he rolled up on Matt Spaeth right there after that tackle. Spaeth got up, looked like he's okay, but a nice gain, a nice execution.
All right, Steelers get a new set of downs now, trying to get the equalizing touchdown here. If you've just joined us, it was LaShawn McCoy taking a Foles pass. Nice design on the play, 22 yards. And now once again, LeGarrette Blount moving the pile ahead. That's a gain of 3 when it looked like there wouldn't be that much available.
One of the keys to the game, Bob, they're still trying to run that outside zone. They want to really run it to that side, and yet every time at the point of attack they have to cut it back. Nothing wrong with the cutback, but at some point you're going to have to get movement at the point of attack, which in that case was to the offensive left side, and find a hole over on that side. Yes, the cutback is always going to be there to a degree, but you really want to be able to run that outside zone where you're running it.
2nd and 7 now for the Steelers with Wheaton in motion. Once again, a fake pass, this time behind the intended receiver. It was Fletcher in coverage, but that ball was behind Wheaton.
Would have been a difficult catch for Wheaton. Had his hands out there, nearly snagged it from behind anyway. And that's one of the things you're looking for with this young receiving core, Bob. Who's going to make a play? You know, with pressure, with guys coming on you, these guys get paid too. In the Eagles uniforms, they're going to put some pressure on you. You have to try to make plays, and that's what Coach Tomlin is looking for in his offense, is playmakers other than Antonio Brown and Big Ben.
3rd and 7, Justin Brown back in the game. He was in the slot, now moves down to the right side of the play, and it's Roethlisberger here feeling some pressure. Pocket holds up and he delivers, but over the head of Marcus Wheaton once again, and the Philly pass coverage down the field has been really tight.
Again, another offensive drive stymied. You get into that 2nd and long, no gain, 3rd and long, incompletion. Really looking for something, and there's Antonio Brown pleading with his coach. Just throw it to me, coach. Let me take over. As we know he certainly can do.
Brad Wing on to punt it away once again. He's here for Adam Podlesh, who remains with his wife, going through a tough pregnancy. Johnson makes the fair catch, and Philadelphia has the ball back with a 7-0 lead. 3:47 remaining, first quarter from Lincoln Financial Field. We're back, everyone. 7-0 is the score. Steeler fans, you're going to join tonight's game once again Saturday at 4:30 on Pittsburgh CW. Steelers, Eagles, every second of every play. Check it out, 4:30 Saturday on Pittsburgh CW, the home of the UPMC Urgent Care Nightly Sports Call. 7 nights a week. We take your calls at 10:35. And by the way, the update on Shady McCoy, he left with a right thumb injury. He's getting x-rays right now. I'll tell you what, Edmund, that's one guy they cannot afford to lose. The NFL's leading rusher from a year ago, 1,600 yards.
I've seen all I need to see of him, particularly in the rest of the preseason.
Inside handoff, it's a fake one. It goes once again to Macklin, and this is Timmons with the tackle, but not before a pretty healthy gain.
Tough to stop those really short routes unless you jump them, Bob. And when you get into the practice of jumping them, you get the stop and go routes that can really hurt you deep. That's good sound defense for a short pass.
2nd down now for the Eagles. Leading 7-0, first quarter action from Philadelphia. Handoff Darren Sproles. Jason Worlds is there. Short gain right there, if at all.
Troy Polamalu coming up into the line of scrimmage and really hitting line of scrimmage hard, making sure that that run to the side that they wanted to run was not there. Troy coming in with his pass nice and low, delivers a blow, forcing the runner to cut back. It's a good play by the defense. Now you're in 3rd and short. Time to bow up.
Worlds has 18 career sacks, 8 of them last year, and that's why the Steelers gave him that transition designation. There's a nice pass, and it's right on the money to Riley Cooper, who gets first down yardage. Good coverage by Ike Taylor, but not before they move the chains. Another flag. Boy, they keep coming.
Yeah, Ike had a little grab of him. It looks like that's what was called. Almost made a good play on the ball.
Pass interference, defense, number 24. The pass was completed. The penalty is declined. First down.
And if you don't know already, you might as well figure it out. That there are some defensive backs around the league, probably most of them, Bob, going to have a little trouble with a point of emphasis this year. They're going to have to keep their hands off of the receiver. And I think it was a perfect idea to have the cornerbacks and safeties practice with boxing gloves on.
Yeah, you can't touch them anymore. And boy, everyone's been penalized. A lot of them in the preseason. There's a handoff, a good yardage there once again. And that is Matthew Tucker. Actually, Henry Josley is the ball carrier. Jarvis Jones is a name we haven't mentioned much, and Jarvis Jones is a guy who needs to get going. So far in this game, he's been rather silent.
Been injured. Watch it right here coming off the left side. There's some zone blocking for you. He gets a real nice block at the point of attack. Linebacker gets smothered.
There's Tucker again. Gets first down yardage before Cam Hayward is there. And once again, Philadelphia running this thing as quickly as they can. You know, the NFL is known for seeing something and then adjusting. And I imagine this year things will get a little tougher for Philadelphia in that regard. Coming off a 10-6 season, they won their division, but teams now can prepare for what Chip Kelly threw at them kind of unexpectedly last year.
Yeah, I believe the adjustment has occurred already, but it's going to be ongoing. You know, it's nice and fresh and new the first time you see it, but after a while, some folks, especially folks in the division, are going to have to try to find a way to defend it. Just shy of the first down, it looks like.
And there is Chip Kelly, and he has a big coaching staff. Did you know that they have the largest coaching staff in the NFL? Actually tied with Seattle, 25 coaches, including Deuce Staley, the former Steeler. He's on the sidelines as the running back coach. He looked pretty good. Won Super Bowl 40 with the Steelers, but he's one of their coaches. By comparison, the Steelers have 16. All right, it's going to be, instead of a first down, which it looked like up here, he got third down and short. And first down yardage to be sure. There's Jones trailing the play and making the tackle, but not before Tucker moves the chains, and another first down for Philadelphia.
Jarvis Jones had his hands around the running back there, right about the line of scrimmage. If you watch here, Jarvis comes in, has it right about there. That would have been the first down, but just didn't finish the tackle. One of the keys to the game also, finish your tackles. Drive the opponent back. Keep those legs going. Just don't reach and grab.
Matthew Tucker, the running back, is out of TCU, an undrafted guy. They're trying to get a good look at him. He picks up the blitz right there, and that allows Foles to put it on the money to Brent Selleck. Mike Mitchell better watch that taunting. They're going to break down on that too. He stood over top of him, but Selleck makes a gain of 18 and a good blitz pickup by the young running back.
Yeah, no need to stand over on top of him when he's made a gain like that, but that is a very good hit. Mike is known as a hitter, delivered one right there. That's a beautiful hit there, but you want to try to separate the ball from him, and you can tell Brent Selleck felt that one. Just a bit shaken up.
Selleck is much like Heath Miller in that he's pretty much reliable when he gets his hands on the ball. Foles now looking into the end zone, trying to go to Riley Cooper. Once again, Ike Taylor may be called for another penalty. Flag goes down. They can also call it the other way too, but so far we haven't seen much of that, just defensive pass interference.
I was looking at that one close. It looked like that could have been called the other way.
Could have been, yes, close.
Pass interference, offense, number 14, pushed off. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
And so it works both ways, Bob. Yeah, we saw that one about the same time. If you look at it here, a little bit of hand fighting. He's got excellent position. Did you see the push off right there? You just barely caught it in the camera angle there. Just a little push off just to get some separation. Ike Taylor had perfect position in that coverage.
Well, that's also a point of emphasis. We have not seen too much of that, if at all, during the Steeler preseason games, but they said at the top of routes or whatever, when a wide receiver pushes off, they will make sure that they call it, and that time they did. Timeout Philadelphia now as Foles comes over, could not hear apparently. Talking to Chip Kelly about that. Kelly with Oregon, 4 years, BCS Bowls, and what a winning percentage he had at 46-7. Of course, 2 years probation in 2013 during his tenure. A lot of teams were interested. Bills, Browns, Eagles, they all pursued him. Eventually he chose Philadelphia. Now let's check out the PNC scoreboard. And there are baseball games going on. The Pirates are off tonight after really a much needed win last night. Final game of their homestand with Atlanta. A walk-off win tonight. The Cubs and Giants, and boy, Giants are one of the teams. They are looking at, that game suspended, and Atlanta back at it, leading Cincinnati 5-0 in the third. PNC Bank for the Achiever and you. Sproles now showing that burst, and 143 takes care of the other as Polamalu comes up from his safety spot and makes the tackle.
Young guys in there at the defensive front. Cam Thomas in there. Stephon Tuitt also missing a tackle there on that play.
We've reached the end of the first quarter. The only score coming on a Philadelphia touchdown pass from Nick Foles to LaShawn McCoy. Back with more at the link right after this.
The preseason football on KDKA TV is brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now. By Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. You're better with Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, rated #1 for plan satisfaction. And by the Sonata Premier event at your Hyundai dealer now through September 2nd.
We're back in Philadelphia, second quarter just about to get underway. 7-0. 11 plays, 88 yards. The last 22, Foles to McCoy. The touchdown, the only points. And here's Darren Sproles up the middle, getting decent yardage there before Ryan Shazier, who's been noticeably quiet compared, well, of course, compared to last week when he was everywhere, but he hasn't been involved as much this time.
You know, opposing offenses know who the playmakers are on defense. The Steelers right now are in a sub package with just 2 defensive linemen, 5 linebackers, one of which Troy is playing.
Here comes Foles now, and Timmons had some pressure, but he gets it off, and there is their tight end they like a lot, Zach Ertz, and this is a kid out of Stanford, and we have another flag on this play.
Shazier in coverage on the opposite side, gets pushed off a little bit, bounces off, makes the tackle, but that's too much.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact, defense number 18. The penalty is declined. Play results in a first down.
That was a 1st and 20. And they got all of that yardage for a first down in 3 tries. That is not what Dick LeBeau is looking for in his defense.
Yeah, I think he had the wrong number there as well. Ed Hockley.
28, Cortez out.
Yeah, he had 18. I'm looking around saying, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, it's a big play as it turns out. Shazier was on Selleck, who separated at the last moment. Foles now. Pocket holds up. He goes to Macklin. Macklin is completely swallowed up immediately there by Shazier and Lawrence Timmons, the 2 inside backers.
But on first down, really, that's where the Philadelphia Eagles offense is making a lot of hay. They're getting it in the second and short. That's 8 yards on first down inside the red zone. The Steelers are really going to have to toughen up. They seem to be having problems with this spread offense.
Tucker back in the game now. Foles. And he sidearms it and puts it right on the money there. A nice hit by Mitchell, but not before the completion was made. And one thing of concern, Edmund, as I said last year, the Steelers were not very efficient in stopping the run, which is probably why you see Brett Kiesel back with this team. And tonight's the same thing.
Right, the blitz, in the blitz package, you have to get to the quarterback. You cannot allow him to have that kind of time, or else he will pick you apart, as evidenced by his numbers from last year.
Yeah, think about this.
Shaking up on that, Bob, too. He got hit awkwardly on the elbow or shoulder.
He did. Foles now, again looking to pass, and he swings it in the end zone. Riley Cooper had it, lost it, incomplete as Ike Taylor fell down on that play, but another flag on the far side of the field. Flag after flag.
Illegal contact, defense number 28. Half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
Cortez Allen for the second time in this drive.
Again, Nick Foles patting the ball back there. That should have been a completion for a touchdown and made the flag moot, but and Cooper was looking for a flag, it seems.
Foles has hit 7 passes in a row now as the Eagles continue to march down. This one a fake handoff. It goes to Macklin. He tries to get in. Flag flies, and he is short of the goal line, but there is a flag far side of the field. Another one.
One of the Steelers may have gotten a little bit aggressive on the snap count. Watch this play right here. That was Jarvis Jones anticipating the snap count, may have gotten off. Really close play at the goal line.
Offside, defense, half the distance to the goal, repeat first down.
All right, so they'll get another chance, Philadelphia, as they keep getting closer, inch by inch. You know, to my untrained eye here, Edmund, I will say this about Shazier. He looks like at times, watching him, he gets stuck on blocks a little bit. That is, he can't separate, and if I remember, if you're going to find a negative in college, it was not separating away from the receiver at times. And I'm sure in his second game, things he's got to work on.
Well, we'll address that here in a second here, Bob, as we watch this play on the goal line.
And it's a touchdown for Sproles, who on second effort gets in. He took the handoff, was hit originally, spun away, and the veteran, who was acquired here by trade, gets another touchdown as Philadelphia ups that ante to 13-zip pending the extra point.
Philadelphia having their way. Watch a bunch of Steelers up there, a little bit of penetration, but not enough. And when you hit a guy at the goal line, you must wrap up, especially if he's the size of Sproles. There's good contact in there. Shazier's in there, a couple of guys in there, but Sproles just wasn't having any of it. Spinning off the tackle and getting into the end zone.
Yeah, that's one of the things he does best. He did with San Diego. Alex Henry has not had a very good preseason, but he's perfect on 2 extra points tonight. Sproles gets in. Philadelphia now leads 14-0. Philadelphia gets another touchdown in the red zone. They weren't that good at it last year, scoring only 53% of the time, but there are 2 of them here tonight when they've gotten there, 14-0, and a new kicker in now. 13 plays, 77 yards. You see Sproles capped it off with a 1-yard run on second effort, but that's number 7, Cody Harkey from the Colts. He just got cut yesterday. Actually, they made a trade, theoretically, with the Colts. And this guy led college football with 69 touchbacks, got a big leg, and so far he's been good with the Colts. He has a field goal of 48 yards, and they want that and put a little pressure on the incumbent Alex Henry. And here is Dree Archer. Dree Archer trying to get to the outside, and somebody came torpedoing in and tripped him up.
Complete offensive domination in that first quarter by the Philadelphia Eagles, Bob. 151 total yards to 39. Watch this, Dree Archer coming up and just the one little, just by an arm.
That was Emmanuel Echo, reserve linebacker.
151 total yards offense versus 39.
Well, that's not going to get it done, and it's not good on either side of the football. Philadelphia coming off a couple of sloppy performances, wanted to improve, and so far they have. Bell, again, the ball carrier, plowing ahead.
Here's another problem as you see it from the Steelers' point of view. Now they're down 14-0. They're going to try to run the ball. They would like to establish the run, but they're down by 2 big scores. They're going to have to go for this thing up as they are right now in the spread formation and move the ball down the field and at least get something on the board before this half ends.
4 carries, 15 yards for Le'Veon Bell. 2nd and 6 after a gain of 4 on that play. Roethlisberger looking left, throws it right, and it's Dree Archer underneath. Archer cannot get away. Sure hand tackling of Michael Kendricks, the linebacker right there from California.
You think they didn't do any film study on that? They know when Dree's in the slot, the little crossing route that he broke a couple of weeks ago for the big gainer, Bob. Kendricks staying at home, understanding that crossing route is coming right at him, and makes a good play on Dree Archer, the swift one.
Yeah, Archer normally will outrun people, but I'll tell you what, it was a good angle taken by Michael Kendricks. It was a 2nd-round pick a couple of years ago for this team, and they need him to produce the way they expect. Now it's 3rd down for the Steelers, 3rd and 4. Trying to get something going offensively for the first team, which has not done all that much here so far tonight. Roethlisberger again. This time looking right, throwing left. Antonio Brown has it, bounces off of people, gets the yardage necessary, and much more for another first down, although the flag comes out. Now many of them are shooting all over the place. Once again, it's flag football.
They're going to have to check out all the flags to see if these could offset, but looks like the initial flag was on the Eagles defense. They will hash this thing out, but one big positive play. And who do you have to go to, Bob? You have to go to your offensive leader, Antonio Brown, to make a play. Bounces off of a tackle.
There were 2 fouls by the defense on the play. Offside, number 98, that penalty is declined. It was also unsportsmanlike conduct after the play was over. Number 27, That penalty's 15 yards from the end of the spot. First down.
Malcolm Jenkins gets the unsportsmanlike.
Watch this. Just Ben looks off the coverage. There was good coverage there, but they didn't bring Antonio Brown down. He escapes, not quite able to accelerate, and then a little jaw jacking right there. Too much. There will be none of that. Watch the little play. Fakes. Ben looks very better removed, looking off the coverage, trying to anyway. Antonio gets the ball, and this was just trying to prevent the celebration right here, pointing, and he took umbrage at that, and completely unnecessary.
They say zero tolerance, and they mean it. Even if you're joking around, they're going to call it. Roethlisberger now firing down the field. Marcus Wheaton gets it. Another flag flies. The ball is actually knocked loose over there by Bradley Fletcher. It looked like Wheaton had pulled it in. Flags go flying again.
Probably going to get the call here, but that's a ball that he should catch.
Before the pass is thrown, illegal contact, defense number 24. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Bob, we've been talking about Martavis Bryant able to make those kinds of catches with the big body. Wheaton has position right here, has position and gets his hands on the ball. Right there as a receiver, you have to count on yourself. Would have been a tough catch. Ben just puts it right on the money. Watch it. Gets his hands on it. Defensive back's hands are on the ball as well, but that one you have to haul in. But he did get the call.
So far, the Eagles in the first 2 preseason games have committed 19 penalties. They're adding a lot more to this one tonight, at least on pace. Both sides are. Roethlisberger now being pursued. He just lofts it in the air looking for Trey Archer, and this one's going to be picked off. He lofted it too far, and instead it's Nolan Carroll who comes away with the interception. The guy who was a 5th-round pick 4 years ago.
And even Big Ben is susceptible to the absolutely horrible choice there. If you're going to throw it away, throw it all the way away. What does he do? Not quite.
Is it an interception or not? Every turnover and touchdown is automatically looked at, and that's what they're doing right now. And the question, did that ball at all roll out of his hands from Nolan Carroll and make contact with the ground?
A little bit of pressure, but you can't throw it there. Take a close look at it. That's slow-mo. Good job by the guys in the truck. Right there, not much to see from that angle, but there's the ball.
Philadelphia's ball, first down.
All right, they uphold the call, and it is an interception. That guy Nolan Carroll, you might remember, because back in 2010, you remember when the guy Sal Alosi, the Jets strength and conditioning coach,
Yes.
tripped a guy? Well, he was the guy. He was, and then I think he got suspended for the rest of the year, Sal Alosi of the Jets, in that famous play.
Right.
All right, Foles standing up to the pressure behind Zach Ertz, but Ertz to get out of Stanford. They expect big things. He's a great seam runner, and he's got speed to outrun a lot of linebackers.
Now there's a receiver making the adjustment and catching a ball that's thrown behind him. There was pressure in Foles' face right there. Timmons was right there. Look at that catch. How about that catch?
Here comes pressure from Gay. And this one is intended for Macklin, and what is the call? Well, it looks like his knee, and he's in severe pain, Jeremy Macklin. And boy, he's a guy they can't afford to lose either. He had an ACL last year, if you remember, 2013, and that affected his season. I don't know if that's the same leg.
Yeah, he's in a lot of pain down there. And it looked like Cortez Allen or someone was waving to the sidelines immediately to get someone out there.
We'll check it out in this break. Shady McCoy is back there, you see, with a thumb cast or bandage. We're back. Jeremy Macklin, that right knee was the one that he hurt last year with the ACL, and they're tending to it again as he comes off the field on his own power.
Looked like he was walking okay, though. Hope that's a good sign, but they certainly are checking it out for stability.
All right, so it'll be second down now for Philadelphia. Foles reverses the field, and Troy Polamalu comes up and makes the interception. Miscommunication there on behalf of Foles and his receivers, whoever that might have been. It looked like Sproles, but 43 Polamalu, sensing the play, instinctively makes the pick.
Man, it seems like every time you need him, he comes up with a big play. That's why he's the consummate pro. That's why he's the leader on this defense. It's the bad choice. They ran this with great success the first time, but not this time. Looks like Sproles may have run into his offensive line and fallen down. Troy Polamalu, sensing urgency, finds the football and comes up with a big pick.
Turnovers, something lacking the last couple of years. Turnovers, something they need to see more of. We saw it last week with Shazier and also Robert Golden, who I think is having a very outstanding camp. And now this one. Archer, number 13 in motion. Roethlisberger. Incomplete. That one intended for Brown. No flags. You already survey the field to see their flags.
Well, I tell you what, there was a free blitzer coming in. Ben's blindside at that time. He's looking left. The blitzer was coming off of his right, and he had a free shot. Good thing Ben got rid of that.
It's also one of the things Philadelphia has had problems with, sacking the quarterback, and they only have 3 in this preseason, but none from their starting guys up front, so they need to improve upon that. Second down for Pittsburgh from the 32. Roethlisberger now delivers it to Le'Veon Bell. Gets a block from David DeCastro. The nice backside pursuit there by Hendricks. Hendricks is there. Nice speed.
Le'Veon running basically the same play that Heath Miller ran just a second ago, faking the block and then trying to get upfield. Looked like there was a lot more than there was. And you have not seen Le'Veon able to get up to top speed and get into that secondary like we know he can.
Justin Brown, number 15, back into the game now. On a 3rd down and 7 for the Steelers. From the Philadelphia 28, trailing 14-0. Pressure. He avoids it. Roethlisberger does, rolling, and it's behind his man. It was Antonio Brown, but once again it was Jenkins, Malcolm Jenkins, who got that taunting call earlier, who makes a nice defensive play.
That was a fantastic play by Jenkins. Look at Ben, the nimble-footed one, breaking out. Look at that play by Jenkins. That is absolutely, as the British say, crackerjack.
Jenkins spent time with New Orleans Saints. He won a Super Bowl there. Was a 1st-round pick of Ohio State. From Ohio State, I should say. It's 46 yards now for Sean Sweesom, who's missed 2 in this preseason. This one is going to be a 3rd miss as he yanks it left. No good. Sean Sweesom not having the kind of preseason you would want from him after signing a new 4-year extension.
Probably having problems and issues because you have a new snapper. Let's watch the snap and hold. See if it is snap, perfect, hold, perfect. He just missed it. Looked like everything was perfect right there. I saw Sweesom working with the snapper. You know, there's a window that the kicker actually is looking for the ball to be snapped in to create that timing so that he can get the ball off in a timely fashion. But everything was perfect with the snap and hold there. He just missed that one.
Yeah, they have Luke Ingram there, but also Bryce Davis, who's a rookie. I believe he was the one snapping that one. So far in this game, lopsided if you just tuned in. 16 Philadelphia 1st downs to 7 for the Steelers. And this is a completion that will be another, or at least very close, actually short from our vantage point. Looked like it was in. Macklin back in the game.
Yep. Well, he is tough to cover. In this spread offense that these Eagles run, this up-tempo offense, they create a lot of space. And that's one of the main reasons why Shazier is having problems with the runs, is that with all of the space, it's allowing the guards to get back there and get a hold of him.
All right, this one goes to Jeff Mayle, new tight end just into the game. Doesn't get much there. Nice play, both by Timmons and William Gay. They got a lot of Oregon Ducks on this team, as you can imagine. Jeff Mayle is one of them.
When I was studying the roster, yeah, I saw that. Those guys are used to, of course, their head coach's calls.
There's a nice play by backside pursuit there. Matthew Tucker had the ball, and he gets knocked down by Jason Worlds, who's had an active 1st half.
Jason Worlds in there. Stephon Tuitt getting some work. And that ball looks like it's short. They should have a measurement, but it looks like it's short of the 1st down. This could create
it's a good play.
An issue here.
And Philadelphia also has done well on 3rd down conversions to this point, 5 of 6. And this one, if it's short, will set up a 4th down. We'll see, and it is.
Length of the football. Interesting. Will he go for it? He's on his the minus side of the field, and that's an emphatic no, he will not. Wants to punt it, let his defense work. After all, they've been working pretty good. Danny Smith trying to get something going, anything on special teams. Hopefully they get an opportunity to return one. See Bree Archer in the open field.
Yeah, and that is Donnie Jones, the punter, not Henry, who's the place kicker, but Jones. And flags fly, or at least.
But the ball was snapped before the ball was blown ready for play. No play, it's 4th down.
Ed Hockley taking control.
As always.
Who's going to mess with him?
Not me. I think he did an extra set of push-ups before he came out on the field today, of course.
Steelers, not the kind of first half they wanted, for sure. Coming off a very inspiring first half last week against the Bills. Not so much here tonight. The Eagles, on the other hand, yeah, the clock here at the stadium is saying 45 minutes. Actually, you see it on your screen, but right here at the big Lincoln Financial Field, now they change it.
And it looks like they want to add 2 more seconds to it to 43.
Now it says 43 minutes again. Well, it's preseason for the clock operator, too, as they wait here on the big Jumbotron, trying to figure this thing out. Now they have it down to 0.
We will shut the clocks down. Turn the clocks all the way off, please, until you get it corrected. We'll keep the play clock or the game clock on the field. 7:43. Shut the game clock down, please. Turn it off. Thank you.
Again, who's going to mess with that Hockley?
I believe everybody heard that, didn't they? I believe they heard that.
So 7:43 left. 4th and 1 for Jones. And this kick, again, it looks like a fair catch by Bree Archer. Philadelphia once again a flag, too. Back of the play here. We'll see if somebody was illegally downfield.
In the area of holding as well. Could have been holding on the return team. Looked like Robert Golden may have been called.
During the punt, holding by the receiving team, number 21. The penalties enforced half the distance to the goal. Pittsburgh keeps the ball. 1st down.
Yeah, you got that one, Edmund, right on. He's had a good camp, though.
Yeah, it's just, you know, once you get behind the 8 ball as far as tempo and pace, it's very tough to recover.
We'll be back with more second quarter action from the Lincoln Philly. 14-0 Philadelphia. Scorpion, another reminder to you, features eccentric genius Walter O'Brien and his team of brilliant misfits as the last line of defense against a complex high-tech threat. As Homeland Security's new think tank, Scorpion team includes a lot of different people who are going to try to make the difference. Scorpion, Monday, September 22nd, 9 p.m. By the way, Shady McCoy, sprained thumb, no fractures, no torn ligaments. So if you're a Philadelphia fan, you can breathe a little easier.
Garrett Blunt with a nice run on 1st down for the Steelers. Hopefully that's the start of a nice long drive culminating in 7 points, which they desperately need at this point in the game.
So it's 2nd down and 4 now for the Steelers after that run by Blunt. Heath Miller going to provide some blocking as Blunt changes direction now. Shows you his nimble feet there as he tries to get close to 1st down yardage. Looks like they'll mark him a little bit shy of it, setting up 3rd and short.
I'm impressed with this Eagles defense. Boy, they fly around. Guys are very active up front. Linebackers are fast, tough, play very solidly at the edges. They're solid at cornerback and safety. They have a pretty good defense. I guess practicing against the offense that they have to every day, you know they're going to have to be pretty good.
Bill Davis, their defensive coordinator, actually was with the Steelers back in 1992-94, quality control under Bill Cowher. So he's now elevated himself, took him some time, but defensive coordinator under Chip Kelly. And here is Le'Veon Bell, 1st down yardage, as he makes a move at the line of scrimmage, creates a lane, and takes advantage of it.
There was a statement in that run, Bob. That was 3rd and short. The Steelers didn't even think about getting in spread. Give Le'Veon a carry. Blunt had a couple of carries. Give Le'Veon a carry off of the zone. run that thing. A little stutter step there, and then finds the hole. Nice game. They have plenty of time. They can have some runs in here, but they are going to have to throw the football at some point.
Once again, Wheaton into the game now, and he is the man in motion. 2 tight ends set. Hand off Blunt. Following Heath Miller. Grinds ahead. Thing about Heath Miller, I like another flag again, right?
Holding offense number 73. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Ramon Foster guilty of the hold there. Well, those are drive killers. Game clock is working but doesn't have the right time, so Ed Hockley is giving them the right time.
Hey, if you'd like to tweet us tonight, use the hashtag KDKA Preseason. We'll try to get some of those on for you as we move along. At KD Pump, at Vers down on the field. We're working on Edmund with his Twitter address. He still doesn't have one. So it's 1st and 20 for the Steelers now after that holding call that nullified a nice little gain there for LeGarrette Blunt.
I do have one, Will.
Oh, you do? Yeah. There is Bree Archer in the flat, but he's run down there by Rock Carmichael.
At DNT.com. Do not tweet.
You don't know what you're missing with Twitter.
Oh, but I do.
Oh, but you do.
I've seen some of your tweets. I do know.
It's a good way of communicating to people, and we'd like to get that hashtag going. Hashtag KDKA Preseason. Your thoughts about what you've seen so far?
I call my wife from time to time Miss Tweet. She's all over.
2nd and 10 now for the Steelers. We're going to get something going before halftime here. They missed a field goal. That's cause for concern a little bit. Sean Sweesen's been so reliable, but 3 in this preseason. Blunt not trying to make things happen. It won't go down. Eventually he does, as a number of Eagles get together.
Again, a credit to the linebacker play and defensive front play. There's just no room. Those plays are designed to create space for Blunt and Le'Veon Bell and get them into the secondary to exploit their greater size and power, and yet they're not able to get back there because of the speed and the tenacity of that Philadelphia Eagles defensive front 7.
Connor Barwin, 98. Boy, he had a good year 2 years ago, 3 years ago actually. 11.5 sacks. It resulted in a new extension for him last year. He's a big guy as a linebacker for Philadelphia. It's Roethlisberger now. Ball is deflected there. And let's see, it looked like Brandon Bear got his hands on it. Number 93.
Watch it here, see if we can see it. There's the tip right there. That's great anticipation. Gets up, get the bat. Right there, getting off the ground. That's excellent anticipation. The ball was a timing pattern and out pattern.
All right, this is their new guy. They just acquired him as well today. Kenyon Barner back deep. They had a guy here, David Llewellyn, who wore 41. They traded him yesterday for the kicker. Brad Wing with the punt. And once again, Philadelphia, if the Steelers can't put together a consistent drive, will go to work with 3:42 left. First half, 14-0. Philadelphia has the lead. 2 drives, 1 a touchdown pass from Foles to LaShawn McCoy, and then it was Darren Sproles, the veteran with San Diego, with New Orleans. He knows how to get in the end zone too. Gotta love that guy. How little he was, I'm sure he was discounted, but he got opportunities and he certainly made the most of them.
In his case, size absolutely mattered. The opposite way. Little guy doing his thing in the NFL.
Matthews in motion. He is your man. He gets it. Matthews now with good chunk of yardage gets across the 45. Jordan Matthews out of Vanderbilt, this year's 2nd-round pick. That's his 14th catch of this preseason.
Wow, that was an excellent call to oppose the Steeler defense. Watch on the top of your screen. You see the linebackers come. There's a blitz to that side. They just let him go, run a little bubble screen, and instead of waiting on his box, he gets out and gets a nice gain.
Timmons with the pressure. Came right up the middle untouched, and Foles got it away, but he looked like sitting duck there.
Steelers defense guys walking around, hands on their hips, a little bit tired. Having played this far into the game, they have to pick it up. They have to stop these guys or else they'll get scored on again. 2nd
down and 6 for Philadelphia now as they approach midfield up the middle, and there goes The aforementioned Darren Sproles, first down yardage and more before Cortez Allen knocks him down. And we have another flag near side of the field.
Watch this, guys in play. Jarvis Jones just missing a tackle.
Illegal use of the hands. Defense, number 97. It's a 5-yard penalty that's tacked on to the end of the run. First down.
Cam Hayward must have got up in the chin area. That's another point of emphasis.
Certainly is. If you get it there, you can have your hand get up into the face, but you have to take it away immediately. If you do not, they're going to make that call every single time.
I think Hockley loves to make that first down signal, doesn't he? Full extension, featuring triceps and biceps. Sproles, the inside handoff fake to him. It goes instead to Macklin, and Shazier wraps him up as he gets close to the red zone. And that's a gain of about 9 for Jeremy Macklin back into the game after he looked to get shaken up earlier.
Cortez Allen in the area, but takes a bad angle.
Second and 1. Pat Shermer, the offensive coordinator, likes these downs and distances. Former head coach of the Browns, who's here now under Kelly, and a penalty.
86, 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
There's a lot of discipline on that Eagles offense. You know, you would think there'd be a little bit more of that, being that the way they run their offense and at the tempo they run it. But those guys are highly disciplined, very disciplined along that offensive line. And one of the few times they get into kind of a huddle. I guess you wouldn't call that a huddle. That's kind of like a shovel, right?
Well, we reached a 2-minute warning. All Philadelphia so far in this first half. They lead 14-0, trying to add on when we come back. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, Jeff Rosella back with you at Lincoln Financial Field, where Philadelphia has had the better of the play, the better of the stats. They're up 14-0, 18-8 in the first down department. And they're looking to add on here right before halftime.
Steelers in their nickel or dime package, 2 down linemen, 5 linebackers, or 4 if you don't count Troy as a linebacker, although he's in a linebacker position, and 4 defensive backs.
Second down for Philadelphia. Take the handoff, Riley Cooper now, and he gets a block there by Matthews on Ike Taylor, and it's good enough to get first down yardage.
I don't quite understand what William Gay was doing on that, because there were 2 receivers to the high side, Bob, and he's faking like he's coming in for a blitz, and all Foles does is just look out and throw the ball right to where he wasn't. There's another receiver out there blocking, thus you have a nice easy gain for a first down. Can't quite figure that call out.
First and 10 right at the 20-yard line. It's Nick Foles, who has 1 touchdown pass already, looking for 2. He goes to Sproles, who got behind Jarvis Jones, who was in coverage there, going after the small but fast Sproles, and it just goes out of his reach.
Jarvis did everything right there except continue running. Sproles running the little circle route. Jarvis stopped running, and Sproles separated by a couple of steps. If that ball's thrown where it needs to be, that's a touchdown. Sproles is a lot quicker than people give him credit for.
Oh, and he's 31, I believe, and he's still got the wheels, although he's not going to be the main guy here, but a good compliment to Shady McCoy. Foles now, pump fakes, goes, and he has miscommunication there with Riley Cooper. Ike Taylor and Troy Polamalu both over in that area.
Jason Worlds is not going to be able to apply all of the pressure on the quarterback that there's going to be. Jarvis Jones is really going to have to pick up this outside rush. Foles had a lot of time there, patted, finally did the veteran thing in throwing the ball away. But they're really going to have to start pinching. The Steelers have been spoiled in the past. They had the Joey Porters of the world.
Speaking of which, he's been barking down there. Joey Porter, yes. Coach Peasy not happy with some of potentially the play of the linebacking guys. Who knows? But he's very animated, as he always is. Again, here's a little swing pass, and it goes to Jordan Matthews. Cortez Allen comes up, torpedoes him there, and Matthews trying to get more yardage. He's going to be short.
And that's exactly what you see on film. That's exactly the play that Cortez needs to make. Comes off of his coverage in the zone, comes up and makes a nice tackle for a very short gain.
So the Steelers call timeout now. trying to get some more time. It's going to be a field goal opportunity, and the Steelers want to do something with the remaining time of this first half. Mike Tomlin cannot be happy with the performance of the offense for sure.
Possibly a chance that the offense may come back early in the third quarter, because he hasn't seen exactly what he's looking for. And you know Mike Tomlin is very disappointed in the effort on both sides of the football at this point.
Well, flags is now trending in Pittsburgh on Twitter. That means, Edmund, everyone's talking about flags, penalty flags. Too many of them again for the third week in a row. 36-yard field goal attempt coming up here for Alex Henry, who's been off and on. This one is good. Maybe he feels the pressure, the new guy they just brought in here yesterday, but he converts, and now 17-0 as Pittsburgh will get a chance here, operating the 2-minute offense, which essentially will be a 1-minute offense.
Yeah, this will be good situational work for Mike Tomlin's offense, but they really did not show anything, not a whole lot in this first half. A couple of good runs, a pass completion or two on offense. Not much going on defense at all. Mike Tomlin has had to have a little bit of concern what's going on with his guys. And there's Coach Peasy having a nice long talk with Jarvis Jones, who probably needs it, given that he really hasn't applied the type of pressure that he's capable of applying.
Joey is emotional, boy. You know, even though his playing days are over, when he first came to camp, you can hear him above the fields over at St. Vincent. Remember that time we're sitting up there and you can hear it reverberates through the Laurel Mountains.
And he's no joke. I mean, it's absolutely original, and he means exactly what he says. And I'm gonna tell you what, there was no one more intense than that guy when he was out on the field. I saw him just take over that playoff game in Indianapolis and had Peyton Manning looking for wherever he was on every single play. It seemed like he sacked him or pressured him at least 10, 15 times.
All right, Henry with the kickoff now. Back deep once again. It's the combination of Dree Archer and LeGarrette Blount. And Blount is going to say, I'm going to take this out. LeGarrette Blount, who had some success last year in New England, cuts around to the left side across the 20. And he's going to be ridden out of bounds there at about the 25-yard line. Good job by LeGarrette Blount. Only thing, it took some time off the clock. They'll operate with 52 left.
And another flag.
And another flag.
LeGarrette Blount probably ill-advised to bring this one out, does so anyway.
By the receiving team, number 51. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
And all of that running around negated by a hold by Sean Spence.
And it took time off the clock. Spence can't believe it. Explaining his case.
And what he's saying is he didn't hold. But unfortunately, it was called, and it held up.
Roethlisberger, normally very efficient tonight, not so much. The whole offense has been off stride, and we'll see what we can do here late in the first half. Good job there by Beecham. He goes to Heath Miller, and Miller, you know, even with a team like this that doesn't do a lot of featuring the tight end, he has 466 catches, fourth most among tight ends of the last 9 years. They're expecting him to be back in form.
Yeah, in this particular situation, yes, that's an okay first down play, especially if it's the first quarter and you're starting a game, but you're going to really have to go downfield, and Todd Haley is trying to figure out a way to get number 7 to do just that. But there's been some good coverage, and of course, you know, the Eagles are in their prevent and not going to allow a really deep pass at this juncture.
You wonder how long Mike Tomlin will keep everyone in first team. He doesn't look happy, shouldn't be happy based on this performance tonight. You also have to worry about injury, as Philadelphia had to with LaShawn McCoy. He left this game earlier, turned out to be a strained thumb, nothing more, although he had x-rays in the locker room. Roethlisberger pump fakes now. He's hit from behind, the ball is on the ground, and the Steelers have recovered, but there was pressure there, and just as he was about to uncork that pass, he gets sacked, ball comes out, Pittsburgh recovers.
Looks like he might have had something there too, but he just didn't have time enough. Watch it here coming off the edge. Oh, the nice move back to the inside and slapping at the ball.
Left side of that offensive line got victimized. Brandon Graham, a guy they've been waiting on. First round pick in 2010. Had ACL surgery last year, and they need him to be the kind of linebacker that made him the 13th overall pick 4 years ago.
Clock doesn't stop on the quarterback sack inside of 2 minutes, Bob. They're going to let it run out, go back and regroup.
Well, the Steelers need to regroup. That would be the next word that could be trending on Twitter. We'll be back with our halftime report. Steelers down by 17. We're back. Halftime, 17-0 Philadelphia. Again, Foles with a touchdown to McCoy, and then it was Sproles with a 1 yard, and then Alex Henry adding a 36-yard field goal. After the game today, Mike Tomlin will address the situation with the running backs Le'Veon Bell and LeGarrette Blount. Right now, let's go down to Jeff Brazella, who has the coach standing by.
Thanks very much, Bob. Here with Coach Mike Tomlin. The third preseason game is often a dress rehearsal or considered a dress rehearsal for the regular season. Not exactly a sharp half on either side of the ball. By my count, 3 punts, an interception, a missed field goal, and only 96 yards of offense. Your impression of that?
Yeah, throwing the 10 penalties. You know, we've been highly penalized. We're not getting off in third down situations on defense, and when we do, we lose those wins because of penalty, and obviously we're not finding enough rhythm, snapping the ball enough on offense. Not a good half of play by us, but that's why you play two halves. I'm excited about how these guys are going to respond here in a second.
What about on the defensive side of the ball? Again, not a lot of rhythm, three scoring drives. The interception by Troy was a positive, nice read and react, but your impression of the defense?
You know, like I said, not getting them behind the chains. They're in very manageable third downs, and even when we win in those downs, we've been highly penalized. We got to clean up the play. You know, I'll take a look at the tape, but, you know, that's a lot of penalties in a half of play, so we got to be better.
Are you going to start the ones again in the second half or go with the reserves?
Absolutely.
All right, thanks very much, Coach. Bob, back up to you.
I expected that answer, and I told you I think he's going to get them until they see something good.
I said the same thing, Bob. You know, these guys have to show that they can move the football, and the unfortunate thing is the ones may be going against the two defense for the Eagles because they got their work done.
Now it's time for the Hyundai first half stats, brought to you by Hyundai, proud partner of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it is lopsided as you take a look at this. Total yards 251 to 96. Turnovers, you see what they are. The penalties, actually, Tomlin thinks there were 10. Not sure what the official count is, but there were more than you want to see at any level of football.
Probably 10 flags thrown against them and 7 accepted, but still not good, solid football.
All right, here's the new kicker, Parquet, who has the big leg. 69 touchbacks, and he'll get one here in college. He led the country, and that's why they brought him here. Lanier Sampson was back to field that, but it'll come to the 20-yard line as the Steelers try to get something going here in the second half.
And Ben Roethlisberger brings his crew back on the field. No surprise there, and Mike Tomlin totally disappointed in what he saw in the first half. These guys have to get something going.
Philadelphia has substituted quite a bit here defensively. Some first-teamers are in there. We also see number 50 there, Casey Matthews, one of the long line of Matthews in the NFL.
It's about 19 of them.
Oh, there's a million. Trey Archer, not much gain there. And Matthews, number 50, was there, part of that tackle. He played at Oregon, was a fourth-round pick, and I know you're not going to like this, but I remember him from the BCS championship game against Auburn. He forced a fumble on Cam Newton, which led to a touchdown to tie the game. Eventually, Auburn won. I know you like that, but
I'm sorry,
Casey
who
Matthews.
won that game? I'm sorry, you said something at the
I'm just
end.
telling you, that's how I remember him. His dad, Clay, you know Clay, 19 years, Uncle Bruce.
Absolutely.
They got a ton of them.
Played against Uncle Bruce. I
Did
know
you?
all of them. Oh, yeah. Big offensive tackle out of USC.
This is Le'Veon Bell tripped up there, and a nice play defensively by Marcus Smith, this year's first-round pick. All right, let's take a look at Le'Veon Bell and LeGarrette Blount. First half, what we saw from them.
Not much.
That would be the answer.
Yeah.
Either waiting for a graphic that's not coming or a video, but we haven't seen much.
That's about what we saw.
Good answer. You can extend that answer to the entire offense and defense if you'd like.
Yeah, it's not just Bell and Blount, that's for sure.
Roethlisberger now. Dumps it off. It's Wheaton who makes that reception. And he gets first down yardage.
Jalen Watkins on that tackle there, fourth-round draft choice out of the University of Florida. They're 3 deep at cornerback, so they have their seconds and thirds in there. The Steelers can't run against these or move the ball against these guys. Something is definitely wrong, but they're going to have some success here. It's just not a fair fight, in my opinion.
Bo Allen, number 94. You have the long hair on that defensive line for Philadelphia. Bell now tried to cut out, goes in, not much, did not read the block of Spaeth, and it's a little gain there. Again, Marcus Smith, they expect big things out of him, out of Louisville, their first-round pick this year. Now let's talk about Bell and Blount, Edmund.
Well, not much from them, not awful. I mean, both of them, you know, six rushes, 25 for 22. They had some very good rushes, but they were untimely in that. They came when the Steelers were behind, and the run was really not that big of a threat. Somebody needs to bust one for 30 or 40 yards, and then you will see some numbers put up there.
2nd and 7. Bell under pressure. He was hit at the point of attack there, and then finally taken down for a loss on the play. There's Brandon Graham, the other linebacker out of Michigan. We talked about him in the first half. They have young backers who they're high on.
A little bit too much penetration. Watch the Eagles come off and play on the Steelers' side of the line of scrimmage. Look at that. That's 4 yards of penetration by the right side of that Eagles defensive front.
Loss of 5 yards. And again, the first team Steeler offensive line is in there. Third down and 12 for Ben Roethlisberger. More pressure up the middle. He tries to get away from it, and he can't. Ramon Foster's man got in there, got Ben Roethlisberger down by the knees, and tackled him for the sack.
These are 2nd and 13 guys in there. Bob Taylor Hart, rookie 5th-round draft choice out of Oregon.
Vinny Curry, too.
Vinny Curry in there. Ben with nowhere to go. Protection breaking down, that offensive line protection that Ben so desperately needs.
Newcomer Kenyon Barnard just brought him in here yesterday as well. He's back there to receive this punt. Won't touch it as it bounces out of bounds. Good field position for Philadelphia at the 40-yard line, and that's where they go to work. That was a punt of only 35 yards. 17-0. New quarterback Mark Sanchez will be checking in shortly here. Thursday Night Football coming to CBS and KDKA, featuring Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, September 11th, right here on KDKA. Steelers Ravens from M&T Bank Stadium. James Brown, Bill Cowher, Deion Sanders team up. CBS and NFL Network prime time, pregame and halftime coverage each and every Thursday. Mark Sanchez into the game, and he's had a very nice camp here after struggling in New York for the last couple of years. And there he is, Edmund, a man who was the #1 pick, 5th overall in 2009.
And it seems like a big weight has been lifted off of his shoulders, being able to play comfortably behind quarterback Nick Foles, and this offense fits him.
Matthew Tucker gets away from Jarvis Jones. Tucker now puts it down on Mitchell before he gets first down yardage and plenty more, but Jones had a chance. He missed the tackle. That's a gain of 12 yards.
Beautiful spacing, beautiful execution by that second unit.
Sanchez now with time. Delivers right on the money to Demarius Johnson. He's wrapped up by Lawrence Timmons. One thing about Sanchez you may forget, that he led the Jets to back-to-back AFC championship games. One that they lost to the Steelers 24-19.
Running wide open in the secondary. Not much pressure, if any. Sanchez just sitting back there picking the Steelers apart.
Sanchez pump fakes, looks left, throws right, and that's a drop there by Johnson, who was open, being pursued by Jason Worlds.
A little bit of a mismatch, but Jason Worlds was in good position. The guys are going to be sore tonight, Bob. They're getting some reps on the field a long time defensively.
Yeah, there just seems to be no energy at all on either side of the ball here tonight. And there is Tucker once again cutting it upfield and just running through the Steeler first team defense. Another healthy gain right there. First down. Mike Mitchell late on the play, makes the stop, but not before. They continue to carve away.
Watch Shazier. Shazier, big guy on him. Look at that. Tight end on him, blocking him 12 yards down the field. You must separate, come across the face. You can't just sit back and take that kind of thing.
Sanchez now looking poised as he goes in the flat, and there's Tucker. Ball comes loose. Nice hit by Shazier, who knocked it away.
Not bad there, but it has to be every single play. Every play for Ryan Shazier.
Take a look at his night, Edmund, so far, number 50.
A little bit of Jekyll and Hyde on those last 2 plays, for sure. 6 tackles, not bad. I mean, leading both teams, but, you know, when you're tackling somebody 10, 12 yards down the field, not good. That was a good pass defense there.
Dick LeBeau watching his defense not do much here tonight. 2nd and 10 now. They go inside, handoff once again. Up the middle with yardage to spare there is Henry Josie just inserted into the game.
Bob, these are huge holes the line is opening up for Josie. I mean, just, I could almost run through. If I could run, I could run through. But it's amazing against this first unit. These guys just seems to be a big letdown. You watch them, you can see them there in the background, hands on hips, tired, breathing hard.
Johnson in motion for Mark Sanchez. Last week it was 11-12 against New England. Had a touchdown. Pressure now, and he goes down as Jason Worlds was about to collapse in on him. Worlds was run into by McClendon, and he'll get a sack there, and he looked like he had a little shaken up on the collision with number 90. Flag again.
Looks like they're going to call a hold, but here's the pressure. He just had too long. Sanchez
Before
should
the
have gotten out of that
quarterback was
pocket.
sacked, holding defense number 24. The 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, an automatic first down.
I didn't think it was Taylor. I thought it was Gay over in the corner of the end zone down there, but it could have been Ike Taylor.
Trey Burton comes into the game, reserve tight end out of Florida. He's been used quite a bit in this preseason, and they have some pretty talented tight ends on their roster.
Arthur Moats in the game for Jason Worlds.
Mail in motion, handoff up straight up the gut goes to Matthew Tucker, and he gets closer to the goal line before he's pushed back. Take a look at number 65 on their offensive line, Lane Johnson. He was their first-round pick last year, 4th, but he's out for the first 4 games, violating the substance abuse policy. He took a prescription drug, which was outlawed by the NFL, and his father-in-law, remember John Goodman? Did you play with John Goodman? He used to be with the Steelers back in the early 80s.
I do know him. Yeah, I know JR, absolutely. He was hanging around the hotel this week.
There's an easy touchdown right up the middle. Matthew Tucker with hardly any resistance. And once again, Philadelphia goes against their second teamers, go against the Steeler first team and make it look easy.
Locked down, a little bit of a cutback, not much. Everybody down inside. Troy Polamalu on the outside. Just finds a hole. Big offensive line washing everybody down. Way too easy on that number 1 Steelers defensive unit. Bob, if this is what we have to look forward to, it's going to be a long year for that Steeler defense. I don't think, though, that this is indicative of their play, but we're really not seeing much effort here.
Cody Parkey adds the point after, 24-0, and Dick LeBeau miffed by what he's seen so far. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, Jeff Verzella back, 24-0. Roethlisberger still going to stay in this game. Here's the touchdown, Edmund.
Look at this space. Look at that space right there. Troy goes upfield. Jarvis Jones goes inside. Usually you run with a double ram technique, which is everybody pinches, but you have to have somebody scraping, coming to the outside to take care of that very thing. And Tucker just slid to his left a little bit, scored easily.
Another lopsided stat. Rushing yards, 108 to 40. Philadelphia's averaged 5.6 yards per carry, and we said last year was 4.3 for the year, which is terrible, and they're trying to improve. It's not working tonight. Lanier Sampson, 17, brings it out across the 20 to the 21-yard line, and that's where Ben Roethlisberger goes to work. Now, there are those out there, I'm sure on Twitter, because I see the reaction, hashtag KDK Preseason admin, who say, why play these guys, the most important guys, now, despite what's gone on here?
We'll answer that after we come back from the break, Bob.
I gave you the wrong. We're out of time for that. I'll do it when I come back, but that'll be the topic when we return to the link. Pittsburgh down by 24 points. We're back 24-0. Run a play, then we'll go down to Jeff Verzella, who has an injury update. And Edmund, you and I just saw something on the sideline, which is worth noting. Antonio Brown, misdirection. Flag comes in again. He makes people miss. Brown now just going to get to the outside and go out of bounds. Another flag. We'll see what that is, but I guess we'll go down to Jeff right now for an injury update to Sean Spence.
All right, thanks very much, Bob. Yeah, one of the stories of this training camp, obviously, was the comeback of
Holding
Sean Spence.
offense,
And
number 15,
the word is from the sidelines, he suffered a right knee injury and will not return. The severity of the injury not known at this point, but severe enough that he will not return to this game with a right knee injury. Bob.
Thanks, Jeff, and that's not good news for a guy who's worked so tirelessly to get back. 2 years of grueling rehab after a catastrophic injury at the time, and man, you hope it's nothing beyond just getting out for this game. Sean Spence has worked awfully hard, deserves a better fate than that.
One of the feel-good stories of this camp, and been an inspiration to us all. And for him to possibly be out for any other extended period, we don't know that, but if he is, that's just bad luck.
All right, 2 things I have to remember to get back to you, Edmund. On number 1, playing regulars, even though this game is out of hand, risk of injury. And number 2, what we saw on the sideline with a big defensive huddle. Everyone from defense was involved, and then something happened at the end of it. It's Roethlisberger puts it on the money right there to Marcus Wheaton. But first of all, talk about what you saw with Troy Polamalu.
Well, they were all in the defensive huddle, and Dick LeBeau was in the middle of it, and I saw Troy jumping up and down like towards the left side of the huddle, and all of a sudden he came out of it and was being calmed down by Ray Jackson, and then all of a sudden when the huddle broke, you see Dick LeBeau go over and sit next to his superstar, kind of calming him down. But something was said that really upset him, and he had to get off to himself a little bit, but he was really jumping up and down and really animated in that huddle.
That's as animated as I've ever seen Troy Polamalu on the sideline. He was visibly upset with what this defense has not done here tonight, or so it would appear, as this completion goes to Heath Miller. But man, he had to be taken out of that thing, and he was really upset.
And to Dick LeBeau's credit, he came out of that huddle when he broke it up, went right over to Troy, sat down with him for the next 5 minutes, and just try to calm him down to keep him back. And you can see Troy's back to himself there, but he is not a happy camper. Understandably so. This is a very poor effort by that defense.
3rd down now and short for Roethlisberger. In motion goes Archer. Roethlisberger lifts it up, looking for and finding Antonio Brown in coverage there, and he made the play. Good throw, and that is 1st down yardage.
That's one guy that'll keep playing, Bob. He will keep playing. Ben will keep finding him. Watch this little circle route. Call that an in-and-out route. And just great timing. That ball couldn't have been thrown any better. Antonio Brown just runs right under it and makes a very easy reception for a 1st down.
All right, what about playing starters this juncture of the game?
You have to do what you have to do, Bob. Coach can't worry about injuries. They happen. You have to play on through them. And yeah, it's a risk, but after what you've seen tonight, would you sit him down?
Brown goes up, makes another reception before he's hit on the play and down, and it's the combination of 7 to 84. Normally results in 1st down yardage, and it did right there.
However, that's one guy I would sit down.
Well, Troy would be another, I think.
Look at that catch. I mean, how brave do you have to be? He's done it time and time again, and he wants the ball. Look at him get up. Watch his little stubborn little inside route, catching the ball. He knows he's going to get hit. Goes up there, catches it in his hands, and gets down and protects the football. And look at him. Yeah, he's excited. Let's go.
1st down yardage now for Roethlisberger as the team approaches the 30, right at the 31-yard line. Blunt back in the game. He makes a couple of guys miss up the middle, and then he is driven backwards, but not before a gain of about 3, maybe 4.
And that's a good game. That's a good follow-up to a nice catch. So the offense finally getting a drive here. I think Coach Tomlin is seeing a little bit of what he was expecting in the 1st half. But Garrett's got to get his pads low, though. When you finish that run, finish him off like he knows how. And Tomlin, now that I wouldn't want to be on the other end of that scowl. I'm sorry. I just would not. No, I don't want any parts of that.
We need to come away with something to at least close the night on something positive moving forward, because so far there's not been much at all. Pressure up the middle. Again, the offensive line collapses. Roethlisberger stays alive, and he goes to the touchdown for Heath Miller as he goes down the field, beats his man, and the Steelers are finally on the board. Roethlisberger to Heath Miller. That is a touchdown of 27 yards.
Isn't that vintage Ben, though? Watch this throw, folks. Just, pressure up the middle, little blitz, steps up. What he needs to do, off balance, wrong-footed, strong enough arm, gets it down there to the sure-handed one. Creates time with his feet, always eyes downfield to make the big play, and that throw was spot on.
Okay, now Sweeson with the extra point. He's missed a field goal here tonight, contributing to the problems. That's 3 in the preseason. This one is up and good, and again, no longer do they spot it at the 15-yard line. That was for the first 2 games, not anymore in the regular season. So at least something to clap about for Ben Roethlisberger. 27 yards to Heath Miller, down 17 in Philly. Heath Miller in the end zone, first score of the night for the Steelers. Hey, remember Tuesdays are action-packed on CW this fall, starring the CW's newest superhero, The Flash, from DC Entertainment, starring Grant Gustin as the fastest man alive. The Flash begins Tuesday, October 7th at 8. And we want to talk a little bit about Heath Miller and what he's been able to do, because in 2012, he had a great season going, and if you recall, 71 catches, and then he tore his ACL, his MCL, he injured his PCL, 9 months. But he was ahead of schedule and still had 58 catches last year. Yeah, amazing, really.
Yeah, unbelievable bounce back.
And this is Kenyon Barner, tackled by Ross Ventrone, number 35. He too with the long hair.
Ross Ventrone's trying to earn a spot on this team. Been around. This is the second year for him. Real tough guy. Safety type, comes up, hits people. Covers,
another penalty, by the
teams.
way, way downfield. Did you see that one?
Oh,
all the way this way.
Back here, yeah. Maybe an offside?
I don't know where that is.
Offside by the kicking team, number 40. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
You gotta love that. Huh? Just re-kick it. Let's do that all over again.
Well, the tackle still is noted by Mr. Smith, the special teams coach.
And Ross gets another opportunity. Every single play, though, folks, this time of year, remember the starters are still playing. So these guys, this may be the only opportunity that some of these guys that are second and third teamers, fourth teamers will get. So you have to impress somebody, and there's no time like the present. You get another opportunity on a kickoff coverage, you have to welcome that, because that may be all that you're going to be doing for this team if you happen to make this squad.
Keep in mind, next week we have the final preseason game at Heinz Field. Carolina Panthers to kick off the Rib Fest, which is always a spectacular event hosted by Heinz Field, presented by Coors Light. You want to check that out? It'll be the last opportunity to win a job or lose a job if you're a player.
You going down to Rib Fest, Bob? I'm going to stop down.
I know you will be. I'll be there eventually. You do get a wide variety from all over the country. Kenyon Barner is going to take it out. No. It's Henry Josley says, don't be so fast to do that. And they'll get it at the 20.
That was a heck of a kick from the 30-yard line, too.
Steelers trying to shut down the Eagles. We're back 24-17 Philly. Jeff has an update down on the sidelines, JB.
All right, thanks very much, Bob. Another injury update. Word from the Steeler bench is linebacker Jason Worlds also has a right knee injury and will not return. Again, Jason Worlds, a right knee injury, and he will not return as well. Bob?
JB, appreciate that. And I think it might have happened on that little accidental collision with McClendon.
Yeah, you saw him limp off right after that.
Inside handoff actually goes to a new man in there, and that's Barner. And there's Troy Polamalu, who was a little agitated before, and he took it out on that tackle. He has an interception here tonight, about the only defensive splash play of the night.
And that's what you expect from your leader. He's taking it upon himself to do what he needs to do, and hopefully his defense will follow suit.
Loss of 6 as he makes that play. Mark Sanchez still a quarterback. Looks down the field, throws, and has his man there. New tight end in the game, Trey Burton out of Florida, makes the reception.
Bob, they love that route. They have 2 wide receivers to both sides, and they run this little tandem route where one runs an arrow and the outside receiver runs a little in, and they've capitalized on that route selection every single time tonight, it seems. Macklin made a living with it on the first half.
First team defense still in there with the exception of Moats, who replaces World, so 55 takes his place. Hope that's not a serious injury. They need Worlds to be effective this year. Sanchez down the middle, and there's Burton as he beats Shazier in coverage, and he makes the reception. A beautiful pass by Mark Sanchez, but another flag in the backfield. It could be coming back.
And that's kind of the same route that Shazier made the interception.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense. Number 24 dipped his head into the chest of the quarterback. 15 yards, first down.
Another on Ike Taylor.
See if we can see it here. Ike Taylor coming in, head drops, hits him right with the head, right below the chin. You can't do that, and that was an excellent pass under pressure from Mark Sanchez, I'm sorry. And that's the route that Shazier intercepted. Now he's got dead legs. Now he's been playing all game long. No spring in his legs. Couldn't get up to get that one.
That was a pass completion of 25, and then the penalty on top. This one goes underneath, and it's a reception there for Ifani Moma. Actually, it's Jeff Mayle.
Shazier had him again. Now watch this at the end of it. There's Shazier right in front of you there. Now watch him. Comes in. You got to wrap up, young man. Drive your feet. Bounces right off of him like he isn't even there. And those are kinds of things that happen when you get tired.
Once again, they go right back to Jeff Mayle. This time he's wrapped up by Cortez Allen.
I would not be surprised if the Steeler defense stays in there long enough to show that they can stop these guys, second or third team or not.
Jeff Mayle is an Oregon Duck, undrafted back in 2011, so that predated Chip Kelly. Hand up the middle. Polamalu comes in the finishing touches after Moats and Mitchell had the back wrapped up, and that again was Barton. Man, Troy is miffed, playing with a lot of energy right now.
And you have no continuity up front, no gap integrity. They're finding holes in that Steeler defensive front. They have to find a way to close those gaps. That's one of the main reasons why Brett Kiesel is back on this team.
99 won't play, of course, tonight, but he'll be back. They need him. There's a pass completion right at the goal line, and it goes to Demarius Johnson, who gets behind the Steeler corners on a little crossing out over the middle, and Polamalu knocks him down. But it's going to be first and goal. That's a gain of 14 yards.
Sanchez picking them apart. Very nice throw and catch there. Troy Polamalu, the only thing left between him and a touchdown.
That's a nice play at the point of attack there as they get Tucker, hit him hard. It was Polamalu and also Shazier involved in that.
That's how to fill the hole. You see Timmons coming in there. Jarvis Jones getting a little piece. You have to play with penetration when you're down here on the goal line. You must penetrate and play on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. Knock guys back.
Second and goal now for Mark Sanchez. Inside handoff once again. It's Tucker, and this time he's going to get in and cross the goal line. And once again, Philadelphia turns a drive into 7 points, not 3. Beautifully done by Sanchez, picking apart the Steeler defense. And they continue to add on.
Not trying to fool anybody with this run, just right up the middle. Everybody's up there. You see all the Steelers, all the black shirts up there. Nice double right there on Cam Hayward. And just loads him right into the end zone. Can't allow that to happen. You got to get low and stay firm.
Alex Henry applies the point after. Now 31-7. Steelers trail by 24 points. Again, Tucker gets into the end zone there. The kid out of TCU. Philadelphia doing a good job. Over 5 yards a carry in the run department. And again, we talked about that throughout the preseason, that has been a problem with the Steelers dating back to 2 years ago. Stopping the run, getting off the field, big totals tonight.
Did you see that look on Troy's face? It's just absolute disgust. He's sitting over there like, we cannot find any way to stop these guys, and it should not be this difficult. This defense is not as bad as they're playing, and yet we seem helpless against these guys. And there you see Dick LeBeau still trying to comfort his superstar.
It looks like he's patting the second teamers, and they may be coming into the game now when they get back on the field defensively. Pittsburgh will go on offense after that touchdown by Tucker.
There's nothing wrong with a good whooping, though, Bob. You know, every man that's played in the NFL understands and has gotten one. And if you haven't, then this is going to be fresh and new to you. But it's not the whooping you have to worry about. It's how you respond to it in the coming weeks. This is still the preseason. They have the regular season to look forward to. And as you can see, they have a lot of improvement to do.
Lanier Sampson has a hole across the 20, the 25, the 30. Cutting down the sideline, and he will be driven out of bounds, but a nice return on the play. And I'm looking for flags because that's a knee-jerk reaction, and I don't see any so far. There's a shoe, but not a flag. Somebody's shoe over there.
The shoe wasn't yellow, was it? Watch this return, just nice. No frills, no thrills. You just wish he would just accelerate. He looks like he's kind of skating, waiting on somebody to hit him. But Lanier Sampson with the very nice return. Good blocking on that and no fouls.
Bruce Gradkowski comes into the game now. First team unit is done. Second teamers on after they end the night on a touchdown. The only high note of the night. Ben Roethlisberger 27 yards to Heath Miller. First play will be a pass, and Gradkowski's looking for it all. Down the field, penalty flag fly. Martavis Bryant got behind his defender, and there was a flag on the play.
By the way, Le'Veon Bell is still in. He was in on that play.
Before the pass was thrown, illegal contact, defense, number 31. 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Curtis Marsh in coverage, guilty.
See if he's impeding the progress. Turns right, you can't do that. No hands at all. After 5 yards, you cannot do that. Martavis Bryant has been very good at drawing that foul all preseason long. I'd like to see him become more of a target. He can break through in that top 3 or 4 wide receiver.
And the handoff goes to Le'Veon Bell, trying to get some additional yardage. It's about 5 on the play.
And another flag.
Holding, offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
A lot of penalties. Again, third straight game in which we've seen this now. Combined 19. Pittsburgh has 12 for 87. Again, something that they will not be happy about. We've reached the end of 3 quarters. Some will say mercifully. Philadelphia continues to lead comfortably here from the Link. We'll be back with 4th quarter after this. We are back, start of the 4th quarter. It'll feature a rollout by Bruce Gradkowski, who slides wisely to avoid the hit that would have been coming there by Marcus Smith, their number 1 pick this year. Total yards, Edmund, 372 for Philly, 193 for Pittsburgh.
Well, you can kind of feel that coming, couldn't you? Philly just marched up and down the field at will. Steelers struggled largely in the first half.
Guy Wimper now at right tackle here for the Steelers on their offensive line. He in a battle with Mike Adams, who becomes the swing tackle if need be. One of the reasons why they gave the big contract to Marcus Gilbert. They like his potential. He's young enough. If he earns it, it'll be well worth paying. And I think because Mike Adams hasn't seized the moment, also as a 2nd-round pick, they've made that determination.
Well, you know, quiet as it's kept, nobody's really talking about Kelvin Beachum, and he really has solidified his spot at left tackle, and that's where you would like to see a guy like Adams, who has, at least initially, the pedigree and the size to play out there. But Kelvin Beachum's been doing a fine job, just taking over that job.
Flags fly. One of the themes of this night.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 90. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Number 85, Darius Hayward-Bay has been in there. Hayward-Bay has speed to burn. Like to see him get deep, get a couple of balls thrown at him, see what he can do. I still think he has some spring in those legs of his.
He has certainly been, for lack of a better word, a bust. 2009 first round, 7th overall by Oakland. At the time when he was in college, 5th in the Nationals track and field, you cited that speed, but it has not materialized in terms of solid performances on the field. Gradkowski now looking down the field, trying to go for his man, Martavis Bryant, and 2 people there. And that goes incomplete. Looked like it was there, but again, the coverage came together and knocked the ball away.
Wow, that one looked like it was one that he could catch. You would think that he would just not wait on it, but elevate. Let's see if we can see it here. You got the tight shot, but he's going to throw to his left. And right here, elevate. You need to elevate, young fella, and get up over those 2 guys that are covering you. That was a pretty good, pretty well thrown ball. Looked like it was catchable as well.
Kenyon Barner back to receive this Brad Wing punt. Punting situation is of interest to the Steelers. You know, they brought in Adam Podlish and signed him, an 8-year vet. But he's been back home with his wife. Wing is the only punter here. A punt of 37, no return. Bob Pompiani, Edmund Nelson, along with Jeff Frizella, back with you at Lincoln Financial Field. And a new quarterback is Matt Barkley. You remember him from his days at USC, and immediately hits Huron Praft. Barkley last week had another big night. All those quarterbacks did 9 of 12 for 132 and a touchdown.
The big fella, Daniel McCullers, in the game. Also, Josh Morrow.
Barkley puts it right again for Praft out of Rutgers. He was played there last year. He's undrafted this year. Barkley was 4th round pick of the Eagles in 2013. But if you remember, Edmund, when he suffered a bad shoulder injury.
Yeah.
He would have been higher in the draft. I think he got plastered on a play, and it really did affect his draft status. But he's been good here. And there's a nice run there, and big opening for number 34, Henry Josley. Henry Josley is going to the end zone for a touchdown. There is a flag on the play. Henry Josley with some sloppy Steeler defense once again tonight. We'll see if this is coming back, but if it stands, it's 70 yards.
Student body left, pulled both guards. Someone else got on the corner. I mean, they got on the corner quick on that Steeler defensive front.
Now Josley from Missouri. Father set a high school record in the 100-meter dash in 1990, so you can see some of that genetic speed right there on that run.
Yeah, he set a record himself on that
Holding
run.
offense, number 84, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still results in a first down after enforcement of the yardage.
It's an Oregon Duck, Will Murphy, who's called for holding.
Watch on the left side, you're going to see the hold. As you come downfield, right there, little grab. Oh, you can't be doing that. But right there, missed tackle, gets on the corner, and then that was just a face, that was a plant right there. And the speed going down the sidelines. Wonderful run, wonderful execution. Boy, the Eagles really look good offensively. Spreading guys out, getting on the corner, getting their running backs on the corner. The spread formation is really giving the Steelers trouble. They get in tight. They run short yardage to goal line. Steelers can't stop them. They pass at will anywhere they want. This has just been a clinic.
Absolutely, and they've scored a lot of points in this preseason. You expect that with Chip Kelly. Their defense has been suspect, but tonight they've shored up at the expense of the Steelers, although I got to say the Steelers have contributed to it. A lackluster effort offensively tonight.
Yeah, one of the keys to the game, they needed to possess the football, right? The Steelers did. They did not do that.
Another healthy game right up the middle. Hard yards there by Kenyon Barner. Another Oregon Duck. I'll keep saying that all night. They brought him in just this week.
They got about 10 of them on their roster.
And unfortunately, they're quacking a lot tonight.
Yeah, a little bit too much quacking for my taste, but
yeah,
they are sound on that offensive end.
Matt Barkley, the quarterback, was once the National High School Player of the Year back in 2007. He was the talk of all quarterbacks. Had a good career there. Like I said, though, the injury really hurt him. And there you go. Another big healthy gain by Kenyon Barner, and this will be first down yardage and much more in the Steeler defense, first or second team, not answering the bell.
Yeah, just too soft. You see him just pull everyone, get that guard, the off guard out there, missed tackle. You just can't reach. And one of the things that the Steelers need to do when they run those sweeps is get upfield, fight to get upfield this way, not the opposite way. You can't give because that shortens the corner for you.
That was 16 yards. There's another healthy gain. They are just carving up. Robert Golden comes over, and he makes the stop on B.J. Cunningham, but not before. Another big gainer.
And everything on the left side, left, left, left. The two big runs on the left, and then the little screen to the left. Guys not able to get off of blocks. If not for Robert Golden there, that's a touchdown.
Sanchez now goes, and there's another flag on the play. As his receiver there, Will Murphy, who was called for the holding before, gets close to the goal line, but penalties again.
Before the pass was thrown, blocking downfield by the offense. Offensive pass interference, number 89. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
You can't block anyone until the pass has been thrown. Those guys, they're having so much success, they can't wait to get out there and block somebody.
B.J. Cunningham, who just picked up that 16-yard gainer out of Michigan State. He was a 6th-round pick, has been hanging on for a couple of years. He's in motion right now for Matt Barkley. And it's a handoff once again. Turning the corner is Kenyon Barner.
It's a little bit better at the point of attack. A little bit of penetration coming up there, but it was only one guy. Right there, that's a little bit of penetration, but make the play. If you're going to get up in there, then make the play or make him bounce flat. Do not let him turn the corner. Once he squares his shoulders, now he's running downhill on him.
This time Barkley's going to pass the football. Looks into the end zone for B.J. Cunningham, who makes the reception over Isaiah Green. And once again, a flag on the far side of the field, but that was a mismatch in size, and Cunningham got the reception. We'll see what the call is.
Illegal formation offense. Wideout number 10 covered up the tight end. 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Called back on a technicality, Bob. They're just having their way, and they probably don't mind this because they just feel like they're going to score again. It's very unfortunate, but Steelers defense not making any plays at all. Let's take a look at it again here. It's a little half-hearted fake, but you throw the ball up there, that is a mismatch. And that's what we were talking about, the reverse with Martavis Bryant. He goes up and makes a play. Martavis Bryant kind of sits there and kind of waited on the ball to come in a little bit.
Barkley has time. Once again, throws those sidelines, and this is going to be picked off here. Is it inbounds? Appears like it is for Antoine Blake, who makes that reception.
And
but two more
flag.
penalty flags fly on the play. Man.
The guys really seem helpless against these flags, and it just seems like they can't cover without hanging on to somebody or drawing.
The ruling on the field was the pass was incomplete. There were 2 fouls by the defense on the play. Holding number 25, that penalty is declined. Holding number 39, that's enforced 5 yards from the previous spot and an automatic first down.
So there you go. Green, who made the interception, gets called, as does Bryce McCain.
Very sloppy, very, very sloppy. And the Steelers will work on that. Right there. Yeah, you can't put your arms around it. You just cannot do that. There was a holding right there, and then really nice play. Boy, it really looked like he pulled that ball down, but it may have been a bobble as he was going out of bounds. Unfortunately, no challenge because of the penalties.
First downs tonight, Philadelphia with 35. Pittsburgh 13. Barner again. Robert Golden wraps him up. They've scored 31 points, but they've also had 2 touchdowns called back tonight.
Right, right. Should have been at the very least 38. But right there is an example. You're stymied at the point of attack. A little bounce to the right, and there's a hole there waiting on you to just exploit.
Barner's going to be a workhorse. They just brought him in. That's a good play there, stringing that play out before it's knocked out of bounds.
And that's what you have to do. Everyone has to be in their gaps, and everyone has to be fighting upfield. And then when you do that, what happens is when you have a running back like Shady McCoy, like Darren Sproles, they'll reverse the field on you. And you have to be sound all the way to the backside. That's the one where we saw Jason Worlds get caught running flat, and then he was just outrun by Shady McCoy when he reversed the field on him.
Henry Josie back in the game. He flanks Sanchez to the left. He had a 70-yard touchdown called back. Stein's quick hitter, and it goes to Will Murphy. Murphy trying to get some yardage there. He's going to be short of the first down.
Wonderful play sequencing there. So you get them to pursue, you get the defense to pursue, and then all of a sudden you try to take advantage of that pursuit by throwing a screen and offsetting it. Wonderful play call. Didn't work. The Steelers won their jobs that time.
Alex Henry will be in to attempt the field goal here. He missed a 47-yarder last week. As I said, it's been sloppy for him. They brought in this new guy, Cody Parkey. This is a 31-yard effort for Henry. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. And the plot thickens for his future in Philadelphia, coming off a bad season last year. And the Boo Birds are out for Alex Henry. One of the few times they've been dissatisfied tonight. It remains 31-7 Philly when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Program note for you. Stalker stars Maggie Q and Dylan McDermott in a psychological thriller about detectives who investigate stalking incidents, including voyeurism, cyber harassment, romantic fixation. For the Threat Assessment Unit of the LAPD. Stalker premieres Wednesday, October 1st at 10 p.m. LeGarrette Blunt reinserted into this game.
Garrett Blunt and Le'Veon Bell taking all the snaps almost at running back all game long.
A form of punishment, perhaps. There he is. He gets this one. Gets away from one. Good backside pursuit there. And that's Alejandro Villanueva, who has a great story because he won a bronze medal for valor. 3 deployments in the war against Iraq.
No kidding. Wow.
It's an amazing young man. Put off some football so that he could do it, and he's back. Big thank you to all the military people who make this country great. It's Gradkowski now. Throws in the flat, has Martavis Bryant, who gets away from one. Turn on the speed, and he gets out of bounds before he's eventually knocked out of bounds there by Ed Reynolds, but it's a big first down for Martavis Bryant.
Well, you can really see flashes of the speed, can't you, when he gets loose? He just starts accelerating. Really doesn't look like he's running that fast with those nice long strides. But folks, he can really run. Nice securing the catch and then acceleration right here. Doesn't quite get up to top speed, but you know 1 or 2 more steps, he might be going to the house.
25 yards on the game. Gradkowski now underneath the Blunt. He makes a move. Blunt now trying to weave his way into Philly territory. Gets down to the 44-yard line before he's down. Another flag way down in the secondary.
There was no foul on the play for defensive holding.
Now you wonder, this is a point of emphasis, Edmund, but are they going to do this in the regular season, or do you think it'll start to dissipate? And this is kind of a reminder. Don't do it or we'll call you, to try to curb it now.
I think it being a point of emphasis, I do think they're going to call it, not with as much regularity as you see here, but they're absolutely going to call it.
There's another flag. It looked like Philly jumped down the sidelines, and there was a Martavis Bryant matchup there against Curtis Marsh, who gave up 3 touchdowns last week.
Offside, defense number 73. 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Wow, that looked like another catchable ball, Bob. I mean, that beautiful separation. You know, he gets loose, gets out there, and looks like the ball hit his hands again.
Curtis Marsh has had a rough go of it. Like I said, 3 touchdowns he gave up to the Patriots. He was flagged 3 times. He's been called for a foul here tonight as well. Once again, Blunt following his blocking, and he is going to get first down yardage.
That's nice blocking. Guys looking for a job on that offensive line. Not many of them there. That the first unit is pretty much solidified. You see Adams in there. Trying to find his way on this team.
Only touchdown for the Steelers tonight was Ben Roethlisberger, 27 yards to tight end Heath Miller. That occurred in the 3rd quarter before the first team was taken off the field, but they were not happy. Gradkowski now airing it out down the field. It's Darius Hayward-Bay who gets in for 6 points. The former #1 pick of the Raiders burns with his speed, and the Steelers are on the board again.
That looked awfully easy, didn't it? I mean, he just kind of ran right by him. Gradkowski looking downfield, just heaves it up in the air, and he just runs right behind him like it's nothing. Did he get it? Both of his feet down. Here it is right here. Watch him. 1, 2, both in. He's got the football. He was moving it to his right hand, but he had the football. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a reversal or a challenge.
Suizamon to attempt the point after, so that will count. Everything is reviewed quickly on touchdowns and turnovers, and so they took a quick look. Darius Hayward-Bay finally makes a play here at training camp.
There's a smile.
Mike Tomlin, that's a rare sight, isn't it? Darius Hayward-Bay, 33 yards from Gradkowski, cuts it, the 31-14. And remember, the Coors Light Kickoff and Rib Fest Heinz Field, you got to be there. GM Jimmy Sacco and his outstanding staff do a great job with that. Presented by Coors Light. 5 days of football, ribs, and live music, beginning with our preseason game next Thursday. Got the Clarks performing. They're terrific, as you know. Pitt, Delaware on Saturday. All kinds of stuff through the weekend. Go ahead down to Heinz Field, where admission is free.
Excellent coverage. Excellent kickoff coverage.
Back to the link after this short timeout. Along with Edmund Nelson and Jeff Frizella, I'm Bob Pompiani. 31-14 here in the fourth quarter, and yet another quarterback for Philadelphia. This is G.J. Kinney after 3 good performances by the guys in front of him tonight, including Foles, Sanchez, and Barkley. And boy, he has an interesting story. You know, Edmund, his father was a coach of Canton High School, was shot in the chest by a disgruntled parent of one of his players.
Oh, my goodness.
And that parent often complained about playing time. You hear that a lot. He walked into the field house, shot him. This guy right here, G.J. Kinney, was then taken into protective custody. Shooter was later apprehended after a failed suicide. He got 20 years in prison. But you know what he did? He came back the next year. He and his dad, and they combined and put together the best record in their history down there and won a state championship.
That's a great story.
Scoring drive for the Steelers. There were 5 plays, 79 yards, 210 quick strike. 4 for 4 was Gradkowski, 33 yards to Hayward Bay. There is Henry Josie. He's been a busy man tonight. It won't count on the score sheet, but the penalty nullified his touchdown. Coaches notice that, don't they?
Oh, yes, they do. Vince Williams getting out there, getting his hands on him. 3rd and 1, big play for the young guys. They need a big stop.
This time it's Kinney's going to keep it. And he makes a move on Green and gets a couple of extra yards. That G.J. Kinney gets yardage, although there is a flag once again.
Illegal hands to the face. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Wow, that's a drive killer.
They're going to call that both ways, I suppose, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, absolutely. You can't sustain it. You can accidentally have your hand slip up to a person's face on their face mask, whatever, but you have to remove it immediately. If it's there for any sustained period, or if you deliver a blow with your hands to the face, that's an automatic penalty.
All right, so Kinney now. Here comes Shamarko Thomas up the middle, and there is a sack for the Steelers tonight. A rare sight. Ethan Hemmer. Loss of 9.
Ethan very busy. The rookie from Wisconsin, the Badger.
Big guy, 6'6", 285.
He's a big old boy now. Good stop for the young guys.
And now we see Martavis Bryant back, and he'll take this at the 48-yard line. Bryant up the middle now, makes a move, and then eventually gets caught by his ankle. And the Steelers will operate in Philadelphia territory with 4:18 remaining in this game. That was a return of 10 yards by Martavis, number 10.
Martavis going out for the time being. Something wrong with his helmet, it looks like. And Derek Moy coming into the game.
Yes, also a new running back for the Steelers as they go down. Check it out. Stephen Houston, number 44. Brought in. He had a big career at Indiana with 25 touchdowns. Spent time with New England on their practice squad. Haven't seen Landry Jones, and I'm just wondering about that situation. How many quarterbacks do they keep, Edmund? That'll be one of the things as they approach all these cutdowns.
Yeah, you kind of pointed that out last week. He had a big opportunity working with the second teamers.
And there's a strike once again. Hayward Bay from Gradkowski. Move the chains.
Landry's one of those guys that needs all of the work that he can get, especially if he's going to stay around, but just don't know what they're thinking about him. He got a really big opportunity last week and just did not capitalize at all on it.
Ball at the 30. Steelers would like to continue to add something good to this night, which has otherwise been miserable. They have the versatile center now. We'll talk more about him, Ed. This is one of the qualities that I think Wesley Johnson. Another flag goes down as Moy was the intended receiver, and there is Curtis Marsh, who may be flagged again.
Illegal contact defense, number 31. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That's his second penalty tonight, 5th in the last 2 games. But how about Wesley Johnson? You like versatility. He's the big guy on the Steeler offensive line, number 67. And he's from Vanderbilt. 5th-round pick this year. He can play all 5 positions. That's rare.
Chuck used to tell us the more you can do. Always remember those words.
Hayward Bay stretching for first down yardage will be short, but he gets 9 yards on that play, and he looks fired up. He's making the most of this opportunity, his best that we've seen so far.
Didn't quite get it. Was trying to stretch it out there, but didn't quite get it to where he needed. But second and short and very manageable.
Gradkowski with Houston in the backfield. Takes the snap from the center, and the flat goes to Houston. And he shoves a tackler. Stephen Houston gets close to the goal line, and he's almost stepped out of bounds, actually, at about the 3. They're marking it. But Houston making something happen.
Very smooth acceleration from Stephen Houston. Going down the sidelines, nice little swing pass, nothing fancy about it, a little circle route. Gradkowski gets the ball out to him early enough where he can turn and make a move.
It's a gain of 13 yards, and getting back to Wesley Johnson, this is on his resume. Aside from his versatility, he once held Jadeveon Clowney to only a half sack in an entire half. I don't know if that was Clowney was going through some of his down times there or whatever, but still,
that's
you can
a career
say
in and of itself, isn't it?
Gradkowski now with a fade. Martavis Bryant, and Marsh this time acquits himself well, no penalty, and he gets the defensive play right there.
Wow, well, he needs to work on that right there. I mean, he just kind of threw his hands up. You didn't see him elevate, but with that big body, I mean, he is long. Walks in, he's every bit of 6'4". He needs to get off the ground. That ball needs to be thrown up where only he can go get it.
That's another play that Derek Moy has made in the past and needs to make more of.
They might go to him. They've isolated him here on the bottom, at the bottom of your screen.
6'5", why not? Gradkowski
there they are.
Just that, just this time.
And you know that pass, Bob, is just flat. That was just a flat pass there by Gradkowski. You want to throw that ball up in the air, arc it, maybe towards the back corner of the end zone instead of trying to fit it in there, unless you're maybe trying to throw a fade stop, which didn't look like Moy was running that route. But you want to throw that ball up in the air and let the guys take advantage of their height.
All right, now Houston goes to the bottom of your screen, wide right. Blanchflower, number 87, the rookie tight end. Also a draft pick of the Steelers this year. Gradkowski fires and has his man for a touchdown, and that is Martavis Bryant on a quick slant and finally gets into pay dirt. That's a touchdown of 3 yards.
That's nice to see. Good catch by the big fella. Get on the board. Little slant, nothing fancy here. Just get your body in there, catches it. That's the way to secure it. Kind of catches it in his hands, lets it get to his body. He'll have to develop that as he goes along. He's a youngster, so you're going to have to be patient with him. You see Ben Roethlisberger talking to him a little bit there. You want to catch that ball out in the way and show very strong hands when that ball comes in there.
Point after is good. It's 31-21 now with 2:41 left, so I'm sure you'll see maybe an onside kick attempt or something of this nature just to spice things up a little bit. Roethlisberger did call out Martavis Bryant this week in his press conference in the locker room, where he said he's got to work on his practice habits. It all starts there.
You like to see your leader doing that. He's looking for, you know why he's doing that, Bob? Because he wants a big target out there along with those the mighty mites that he has. You know, Antonio Brown is no monster. He's a monster in the numbers that he puts up, but if you get a guy like Bryant, you can keep him on the field making plays for you. How enjoyable would that be to have those two targets out there along with Marcus Wheaton? I mean, you have an arsenal there too, and then you throw in speed with Hayward Bay, and Justin Brown is an alternative out there, and we haven't even mentioned Lance Moore. I mean, that's a That is a receiving core that rivals the best in the league if they can get those guys going.
Yeah, you would think if you look at what they have solidified. Obviously, Antonio Brown, Marcus Wheaton are your two guys there. Lance Moore slot. And then you have Martavis Bryant because he was a pick this year. They're not going to, so you have 4. Then it depends on how many you want to keep.
Right.
If it's a battle for the 5th, you have Justin Brown, you have Bay, who looked good tonight, Derek Moy. It's going to come down to 1, and they, of course, increased the practice squad to 10, I believe. So now there's more room for people like that.
Lanier Sampson, we've called his name tonight.
Oh, and this is a fumble now by Kenyon Barton, and instead it's picked up by Josie, and he gets out of bounds, and Josie came right to him, and that's where Philadelphia will start.
He's looking this ball in, maybe trying to go without it. And oops! Oh, the ball's loose. Go block somebody. There you go. Nice adjustment after that fumble.
So now Philadelphia goes back to work. G.J. Klein, the Omaha Nighthawks of the United Football League. He spent time there, also in the Arena League with the San Antonio Talons at the time. A lot of these quarterbacks, they have to go through all kinds of different stops, don't they?
Some of them do.
Well, these are guys who do well in college too, but yet it's so difficult to make it to the next level. Josie getting away from Hojo there, Howard Jones, before the hole is sealed.
Pretty good play by Jones there. Holding his point, getting his hands on him.
Heimer once again is the man to make the tackle. He hasn't played all that much here. Good to get him in there. Josh Morrow has done well, I thought, in this camp.
Yes, he has.
You would expect him to be somewhere, maybe not the active roster, but the practice squad.
The dynamic duo in there. Vic So'oto, expecting a big play out of him. Why not? He's had a big play every other game so far.
2 minutes. We'll be back. We're back, and it's Henry Josie who gets a big chunk of yardage, and that's been the theme of the night for them. Philadelphia on offense, big averages tonight.
Boy, you really have to fight off that, the tendency to play flat and whatever. When they start coming at you with everyone on that zone blocking scheme to your right or left, boy, you have to really fight through a lot of traffic and get upfield, make sure that running back has an impeded view and wants to cut it back up into the guys pursuing down the line of scrimmage. Very, very tough on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense with those types of runs all game long. Doesn't matter what unit's been in there.
Sure to tune in every Sunday night for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm sure we always have plenty to talk about, and this game will be no exception. Rushing yards tonight, 184 for Philly, just 58 for the Steelers. Shout out to Billy and his boys watching in the North Hills. They weren't happy about this. Neither is Mike Tomlin, and we'll hear from him after the game. Be sure you stick around for his post-game comments here on KDKA.
Speaking of unhappy, that's absolutely right. Mike Tomlin is kind of reviewing in his head what he's seen today from his offense and defense, and it has not been a pretty sight, although the score doesn't really reflect the whooping that they had today.
All right, now it's time for the high mark of the game, presented by Highmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And there weren't many, so the one obviously that we're going to take, I think, Edmund, is the touchdown from Ben to Heath Miller.
Pretty obvious there, although Troy had an interception and played very well, but this is the one right here. Ben confident in the pocket and just wrong foots and throws it off the wrong foot, off balance, and the sure-handed one certainly isn't going to drop it.
That was the first touchdown. You see Foles and Roethlisberger wishing each other well. Mike Tomlin talking to Brandon Graham and company, but both teams will go on their way. Philadelphia won the division last year. The Steelers trying to do the same. As you look at Brett Kiesel, who will be a welcome addition to a defensive line that did not exactly get the job done again tonight, especially against the run. We'll take a break, come back to wrap it up, and then our postgame show featuring Mike Tomlin's postgame comments right here on KDKA.